The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show as well as previous shows on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 84. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. Well, we've got a Prue Man show today. It's just me and Prue. How are you doing, Prue?
I'm doing great. That was the best introduction already, ever.
You sure?
So.
Because I'm pretty sure I used that joke already. Like, I can't remember.
It gets funnier every time.
It's been 84 episodes, so like, let's just pretend that our faithful listenership has forgotten that joke, and they thought it was hilarious. And then our new listeners just thought it was hilarious off the beginning, right? Yeah.
Well, any Prue puns are going to be, you're going to hit it out of the park every time. So.
Pretty much. They can't beat the Spock puns that we came up with in Titanfall last night.
Yeah,
those were gems.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just you and me tonight. Randy's still gallivanting across Canada, playing phone games. Did you see his milestone that unlocked? The number one in New York for completions, I think, in Windows Phone. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, no, I didn't see that.
And then like top 20, I think, in either Achievements 1 or like Gamerscore or something in New York for Windows Phone. Very specific, but I mean, number 1, top 20, those are great milestones.
Congratulations to him. It sounds like he had some wins of the week.
I'm going to honorarily give him the win of the week. And I'm also going to say to you, and I know Crandy helped you, but Prue, the last episode, you guys did a great job on editing. Sounded fantastic. So I think the show is in good hands. I think we might actually do something here. Like, we can actually sustain this thing. Yeah. Which leads me into Patreon. Oh my gosh. Like, so we've hit our second goal. We can fully fund the show because of our amazing community. Our awesome listenership has stepped up. We have 22 patrons, and they have said, yes, we can absolutely help support this show. So either we're doing something right and you guys like it, or we are resoundingly pitiful and you're taking, just such pity on us that you're like, if we don't give them money, they're going to, I don't know, crawl into a hole and bury themselves. So either way, we get to keep doing the show. So that's the best part.
This is amazing. I mean, obviously, all the thanks in the whole world goes out to everybody that's contributing here. But I mean, this has only been up for 2 weeks at this point, rough, give or take. And I don't really know what I expected, but I definitely didn't expect this. That we're going to be, this is just our second time talking about it, or possibly third, and we're already above our second tier goal. This is amazing, and this is fantastic, and we're so excited and thrilled to be able to kind of up our game, as it were, with the resources that you guys have so generously donated. So this is amazing, and we are excited and looking forward to the future. It's going to be great.
And the other thing I'm thinking is, like, if they're like me and are just finishing up E3 with their podcasts and they're 2 weeks behind, like, maybe we get some more people coming in come August when we finally come around to hearing all these shows. Whatever the case may be, because we've had other donations and things throughout the course of the show, and friends of the show, things that have been given to us. We're going to give a game away anyway. Even though we haven't hit our third goal, we've got a couple of codes here. And so at the end of the month, when all the pledges come through, everyone who is signed up through August 1st, which if you're hearing this show right on the day, you can still get in. You will get your entries for the August, it'll be the August 1st or whatever that poll is. And I will announce that as part of the contest winners, which I totally promised I was going to do at the end of last show, and I didn't. And I remembered right after I recorded it and went to bed, and I was like, crap. I totally said I was going to do all the winners, and I didn't. But I have them this show, and I'll probably do it in show so that I don't forget. But anyway, we are going to do our game giveaway. We have a code or a couple of codes to give away, so we'll do one for sure to a random draw based on your donation level and the raffle system and how we do. So we are implementing that right now and hoping that we can get that threshold to make this a regular thing, because that would be amazing. As I mentioned on the show page, the Patreon page, and if you're looking to get there, it's patreon.com/Z2Z, all one word, ZEDTOZED. That in that page I mentioned everything that we do now, because we've hit really our sustainability milestones, the things that we just need to make sure that we can continue to do this, and my wife doesn't yell at me for putting a ton of money into the show, and we lost, and not having the backing of $ Urban Spaceman. That now everything that we get is total just bread and butter, and all of it's going back into the show. So wherever we end up, we've got kind of internal milestones of what we want to do. But if that means bumping it up to $20 giveaways for the random draws, or giving out 2 or 3 winners for each contest, or having not only a random draw, but having an overall winner. Because, I look back at some of the like the A to Z challenge that we just ran. It's like Elde, E-L-D-E, he went 3 cycles, almost a 4th cycle through the Out Alphabet challenge.
Wow, that is impressive.
It was amazing. And it's like, we should reward that type of achievement hunting dedication. Because yes, as much as I like to give, everyone, and equal opportunity is not the right word, but that everyone gets a chance to be, to get into the prize pool. There should be something for, amazing feats within a specific contest. So coming in first, I think, should have some type of bonus to it. And so that's really what I'm gunning for with this next set of goals at the Patreon, is that once we hit that threshold, or the 4th threshold, is that all of that extra stuff goes into boosting the prize pool. So your top point scorers, things like that. Those people need to be recognized. We recognize them verbally on the show. They get a ton of praise because they did some really awesome things, but, we'll see. Anyway, the other bit of announcements here that I want to mention that's super exciting, and it's kind of last minute. So, like, if you're listening to the show and live near Minneapolis, I guess technically St. Paul, you can come and it'll be great. But we're having a Z to Z meetup, and in real life, the Minneapolis quorum, what do we call it? The Minnesota quota is getting together. The Minnesota Quota is getting together in St. Paul Saturday, July 29th at Bad Weather Brewing Company. It's down by the Excel Center, just south of it. Yeah, just south of it. Anyway, yeah, so if you happen to be in the area or want to come out, it'll be that evening. We'll put details in the Discord page. Again, short turnaround, I know. We'll, as we get a little bit more comfortable with kind of venues that we can use and things here, we'll do a better job of promoting it. This was just kind of it's really hard this summer, but we found an opening that works for a bunch of people. So I'm excited to talk about that. Obviously not next show because we record before that, but maybe I can mention it in my contest roundup, which I tend to record on Sundays. So I'm excited about that, Prue. I know, you and Randy got to meet in real life, and you've seen some people on the East Coast. We have a decent amount of East Coast listeners, but I'm excited to meet. I think the only person I've really met from the gaming community has been X Towers, just because we had done some contests and things together, and we were joining Extra Life and stuff like that. So I think that's the.
It's so funny. We have this crazy concentration of people over by you. I don't think I've ever knowingly met anyone from Minnesota before. And now all of a sudden, it's just there's like a trillion of you.
There's a bunch of us. It's
incredible.
We got nice downloads from Minnesota. Granted, it's still flyover country, so nobody gives a crap about us. But
right.
It is what it is. So yeah, this upcoming Saturday, I'm super pumped about that. But why don't we get into? We got Randy's win of the week that we just threw on him. Hopefully he is happy with that. Let's talk about your win of the week. Did you have anything worth talking about?
Well, it's kind of cheating because it was I think it was my one of the week last week too, but I'll just go over real briefly. I have officially completed Vanilla Destiny. Oh my God, I just said Destiny. I didn't even mean to do that.
You are so in, dude. Are you going to play Destiny 2 with me this weekend? Open beta, baby, you and me.
No, sorry.
I know. It's on your brain. You're so excited.
My friend has been on me because he was the one that I played Destiny with originally, and he's like, oh, let's go. He's already in it, and he's playing. And I'm like, nope.
You got to give it. I mean, you're not even curious about giving it a shot.
I'm really not.
Just seeing what they have come up with.
I hopped into a party with my friend and a bunch of his friends that were playing the game. And I'm like, okay, so how different is it from Destiny 1? I'm like, what are the new classes like? Or what's all this new stuff? And they're like, well, nope, none of that. It's kind of the same.
Well, but
it's just a beta. It's fine. I'm not going to judge the game.
Here's the thing. And this is where I have to. So did that friend of yours, did he play through the life cycle of Destiny 1?
Yeah, a good chunk of it. Definitely, certainly past at least one or two of the expansions.
Yeah. Because I think that's the key. I think what ended up happening was so many people jumped off on vanilla Destiny, and they're like, I don't want to do this. And they missed the changes they did with Taken King, Rise of Iron, all the updates they've done in year 2 and year 3 that had made it such a more approachable game, a game where you feel like you're making progress all the time versus I'm just stuck grinding. You're actually getting some tangible, like, oh, hey, cool, that gun's better. Oh, that gun's better. Oh, that gun, it's a better breadcrumb trail. And I think that's their biggest hurdle is how are they going to entice people like you who just said, no, I played that game and it sucks. That's a tough hill to climb.
We had that argument almost verbatim because I was like, there was nothing in the game. It was just bare bones, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, you only played the first part and you don't really know there's all this other stuff that was added. I'm like, yeah, that may be the case, but my experience has been not that. And I don't know what Bungie could even do to entice me at this point. I'm not sure. If there's like a dedicated group or enough of my friends start playing it, maybe I'll give it a shot. There's just so many other games that it seems very unlikely. I've been soured so much on Destiny. It seems unlikely that I'll go back, but we'll see.
And that's
I'll never
fair.
say never.
I mean, that's fair. Like I'm thinking kind of the same thing with Assassin's Creed right now because I played Assassin's Creed Revelations this week, and it's like such a chore for me right now. And then knowing I have 3 to do, it's like, oh man, I'm just not wanting to get back into that world. Like I'm just so the gameplay is so tired. Yet knowing that I've played 4 already, like I've played some of 4, and I'm like, that's really fun. Like I like that. The boat combat's a nice change of pace, and the missions every now and again are interesting. It's just when you get into the slog that's like, ugh, yeah, no thanks.
Yes, anyway. I totally agree. But yes, so I did not complete Vanilla Destiny. That will likely never happen for me. I did complete Vanilla Halo 3. Which I started when it launched in September of 2007. So that's a pretty big...
quite the gap.
it's quite the gap. And the thing is, upcoming here, we've got, I think, hopefully, we had a few extra people join us this week for boosting. And if everything goes well, this upcoming week will be our final week doing Halo 3. So I'll get the rest of the DLC stuff done. I only have a few more left. I mean, I still have to do annual, but that's way down the line. I'm not sure when I'll do that. But we will be moving from Halo 3 to Halo Reach. So, because by the time you hear this, we boost on Tuesdays, so we'll be done with Halo 3 at that point. But if anybody in the community wants to hop on for Halo Reach boosting, we'll be doing it Tuesday evenings, and just reach out to me, and we can get it going.
Reach out to you?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, look at that.
I did that on purpose, I swear.
Totally did. Yeah, you ended up pulling Mattism out of my Tuesday Diablo session.
I didn't pull him. He volunteered. He was asking. And
you did your Halo Siren song and enticed him to come over, leading him into the treacherous rocks that are the Flood.
It's a really smooth boosting experience once you get everybody within around the same levels.
Yeah, once you learn basic Korean and you're set.
Yeah, that was very interesting. We jumped from language to language for a little while there because we randomly found some other people playing in Portuguese. So that's
what I was going to say, Portuguese as a joke, and you literally went to Portugal.
Yep. We started with Portuguese, we moved to German, and then finally settled on Korea as the best solution. and no real problems. So it went really well, and hopefully getting that game completely done at some point. But for now, I am satisfied with saying yes. 10 years later, almost 2 months shy.
So what's
10
left?
Years later.
What do you still have to do?
Like I said, I have a few of the map pack DLC stuff to do, and then the annual, the Vidmaster annual challenge, which is you have to beat the last level of Halo 3 in 4-player co-op on live, and everybody has to beat the game in a ghost, which is not normally how you would beat the level. And the Iron Skull is on. So basically what that means is every time one player dies, they don't respawn. Everybody in the group gets brought back to the last checkpoint.
Just a total wipe.
Yeah. So it's tricky. And I've heard from people who have done it even multiple times that it's, be prepared. It's going to be a struggle for a while. And so
it's not time dependent. It's just you have to execute all these little pieces.
Nope. Yeah, exactly. And the real kicker with this achievement is it is by far the hardest achievement in Halo 3, and it's a 0-pointer. So
gross.
Yep. Shades of Gen 10 right there for you. But
Yep. Actually, we have a question related to that, and maybe that'll come up. But what else have you been playing? What else have you been up to?
This week has been a shorter list than normal. I wasn't able to get to my random to-do list stuff that I wanted to. So
have you seen the chatter in, I think NBA Kirkland brought it up. You, me, and Spaceman are right there, right next to each other for points. Now, I've earned more achievements than both of you, but Terrigan's got some higher ratio ones, so he's beating me in overall points. And then you're in third place, like just nipping at our heels. And so they were placing bets on who they think is going to pull through at the end of the month between the three of us.
Now,
did you know that? Did you know that there's some side action going on?
I saw that, and that's very interesting. I don't, I'm not one to brag, but I will say that overall, I'm by far beating the two of you. But this month is tricky, so I don't know. We'll see. Now, that's kind of giving me a little kick in the butt, though. I will say that.
That's kind of what I figured.
I kind of want to make sure I just beat the two of you.
And I think that's why I think NBA had said that, too. He's like, my vote's on Prue, just because I think either he'll hear about it here, or, of course, I mention it now, right? And that you've got that competitive spirit to be like, dude, screw that. I'm not going to lose that one. Yeah. And he's like, just Freem doesn't have the time. And I think he said Terrigan's locked up on all his difficult ones. So we'll see. We still got a week.
Yeah, we got a week. We'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. And who knows? Maybe if we can keep it competitive, we could maybe turn it into a community kind of thing. See which one of the people behind the scenes here is best. Ooh. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna bet on myself here.
I'm looking at, because I'm pretty happy with my overall performance here down the home stretch. I wish I was into it. Like I had come up with the concept. I mean, it wasn't me that came up with the concept, but had pruned my list down to games I want to play or I want to finish. Because I look at my the first 5 months, 3 achievements, 6 achievements, 1 achievement. It's like, well, that was just garbage. In March, I had 5, but then, whatever. But February, April, May, June, 11, 10, 10, 10, and now I'm up to 12 so far this month. It's I'm really into it now. And of course, the contest is ending next month. So it's now that I'm on a roll, and not that I would be competitive in the grand scheme of things, but I'm really embracing this now, and it's really fitting into I've got a nice rhythm here, and it's given me a lot of great drive for the month. And so it's man, I wish I'd have such bigger numbers if I, the steady Eddie approach and just getting half my list done every month would be awesome.
It's interesting, too, because this may be part of a larger conversation we can have some other time. But, there's been some recent conversations going on about the random to-do list. Is there anything we can do to make it better? How do we make it, how do we tailor it a little bit better for the community and stuff? And the conversation kind of came up about people curating their lists for the challenge. And I am not that person. That's not my philosophy behind the random to-do list. I look at it as a way to motivate me to do the stuff that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
So if I remove stuff that I don't want to do, then I'm just going to play that stuff anyways. So I'm no. This is exactly the kind of thing that will get me to put Viva Pinata shows up all the time. And Both of them. And I'm like, oh, God, those games. But it's the only thing that's going to get me to put those games in. If it's like, oh, I can go for that. And maybe I'll get a couple of other achievements while I'm going for that achievement. So that's what I love about the random to-do list. And that's why as long as this thing exists, I'm definitely going to be participating in it. And I will not at all trim my list. That's just me. That's just how I look at it. That's how I like to play. And
I'm kind of the same way, only it's funny because I'm looking at it from a different angle, whereas like, I need that kick in the pants to do the games that are like really high on my list. Because it's like right now I'm in kind of cleanup mode just because I'm so sick of having these, like I like completion. So I'm sick of having these hanging trads just sitting there. And so it's like games like, I mean, like my top 3 right now that I want to play, but they're just daunting. And I'm hoping that the random to-do list is like, gives me a reason to do it is Wolfenstein, Doom, and The Division. It's just like, I don't want to start those games because I know what type of investment there is in those. And just because they're big AAA games. I mean, even Wolfenstein and Doom actually aren't that significant of a completion or even just to play through the campaign or anything. But like, I don't want to start new games unless I have a reason to do it. And so I'm like just every month kind of hoping that random to-do list is like, hey, why don't you go play Doom this month? I'm like, yeah, I totally will. Thanks.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what else? Anything else that you want to touch on?
Yeah, just real quick. Just been playing through. I finished up Walking Dead Season 1 on Windows 10. Now moved on to Season 2 because they were on sale a while ago, which will be the final stack for those games. I picked up Seasons After Fall, which you'll hear or have already heard.
We did hear.
Yes, we did hear. Yes, sorry. Yep. In the last episode, and that's why I picked it up and played it. Obviously, if you want to hear my thoughts, you can go there.
It's at the end of episode 83 for the review, right. Zed, you and Planting.
Yep. And picked up and completed real quick NCIS just to get a quick easy 1,000. I try to do one quick easy 1,000 a week if I can, just to keep the points going up.
But why? Do you have anything you just because?
Well,
like,
one of my goals
trying to keep pace with somebody. Oh, just your yearly goal.
Yeah, one of my yearly goals is to get 250 this year, and I'm at 227, I think, or something like that. So I'm on pace. So I just want to keep those points going up. And then, well, plus it helps your completion percentage as well. So I did a lot of Halo 3 de-leveling, which was a pain, and then of course the boosting session, and then decided to kind of double down, maybe a little too late at this point, but on Titanfall. So
I've
been playing a lot of it on my own, and unfortunately I didn't get to, due to circumstances beyond my control, wasn't able to participate that much in last night's session. But I am playing it, trying to get into it daily, play get some of those daily challenges done, get some rank up and all of that stuff. I think I can do it. I think I want to commit to getting it done at this point because I'm just kind of getting tired of Titanfall.
I think we're all in the same boat. I think there's like 7 of us who are kind of at that tail end here. Most of us have all hit Gen 8 or we're hovering around Gen 8, and it's like you just have those few last achievements, and it's like, oh, we just want to get this done. Just want to get this done. And so really the best way to do it is you have the one night a week where it's like, okay, pilot kills, when we're doing the weird executions or just any of those regen challenges that are annoying. And then between then and the next Thursday, get into Frontier Defense, get to that next, get all the XP you need so we can move on. So hopefully, I think realistically I want to start the new game, the next Thursday game, I want to start before Labor Day. So that, that gives us like maybe 4 more Thursdays. I don't know if we can do it.
You know what? I think we should do it. I think we should
set a hard goal.
We have to, because otherwise, and if you're not there afterwards, then you can. A lot of the people are who come back and help us will, I'm sure, wouldn't mind. But no, the Thursday night we'll switch over the week of Labor Day. We should just say.
Well, I'm thinking. So here's my thing.
Okay.
I think it should be the week after, because that first Thursday of Labor Day is the NFL opener, and I'm kind of a fantasy football guy. I like to watch my football, so I won't be participating. That'd be a great week for us to just have a breather. a reset week. You know, people can do their own thing. I don't know. Maybe we can even set something up. But I probably want to watch football, and so I think the goal is that last Thursday, whatever that one is, right before the NFL kicks off. That's where we all hit Gen 10. That's the goal. So if you're listening to this podcast, that's what we're working on. We're going to talk about it next week too.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, set. We might have to set up TA goals.
That's a great idea.
I think we should.
Yep,
there it is.
I think we're going to do it.
Oh, it sounds daunting. Okay. Well, there goes my plan for Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I'm going to be playing that every day, a little every day.
All right. What else? Anything? Is that it?
Nope, that's it for me.
Well, we were talking about Titanfall. I finished, so I'm done with all the DLC in Titanfall. Except for Too Legit to Quit, of course. You're just awarded that for not buying a forged certificate when you hit Gen 10. So that just happens at the end. But everything else is done. All the maps, all the title updates, everything's done. All the hardware's done. I am literally just genning out, and I have 2 game types I need to get wins in, hardpoint and capture the flag. So close to getting that, and just getting up to Gen 10. I'm halfway through Gen 8 right now, but of course that is where you have to do all the wins, which are easy to boost. Just simply ejecting out of Titans in Last Titan Standing. So this is kind of a grind. It's just an annoying one. Speaking of annoying grinds, I also spent this week idle boosting Assassin's Creed Revelations. I found this great. So if you're done with the game, you know how in those games you have to build up a revenue stream. So it's, you're taking over buildings, you're refurbishing them, you're buying up whatever they call the landmarks, things like that. And so you've got this steady stream of income coming in. There's that stupid Mediterranean defense thing that's on there too. Anyway, so you got all this money coming in, and so that's kind of end game stuff. And I had burnt all my money out trying to buy those landmarks because I wanted to get 100% completion. And my random to-do list popped up, buy all the books. I was like, oh crap. So I need like $400,000 to buy all the books or whatever it ends up being. It's absurd. And so I said, okay, I found a great little tip. I think it was on True Achievements where they explained what a good method for idle boosting this is. And you got to check in every now and again, but essentially what you do is hire some thieves. And the thieves, as you walk around with them, they will pickpocket people. So what you do then is you go to a corridor where there tends to be some heavy foot traffic, and you tell them to stop. And they essentially make like a 4-man wall that blocks the road. And then hopefully you can find one that also has maybe a place you can sit down. And so you're kind of in cover, and then nobody will come mess with you. Not that happens very likely because you have to kind of check back in every now and again. But anyway, you just sit there and just constantly pops up, plus 9 gold, plus 12 gold, plus 7 gold. And you just kind of, it's not fast, but it kind of chips away. You make because then while you're sitting there every 20 minutes, your income comes in from everywhere else. 20 minutes real time. Mm-hmm. So in like an hour, you're making over $100,000. By just sitting there letting them do their thing. And then when you come back in that hour, you go to the bank, withdraw all your money, and then it restarts counting up again. And so anyway, I did that this week while I was playing Titanfall. I was playing other things on the One, and let that go on my 360, and got the Sage achievement for my random to-do list. So I got all the books and checked that one off. So that was a nice little tip there. So if you're looking to earn some money, that's a nice way to do it. Well, you can go play something else on the One. It's great. Zombie Army Trilogy is our normal Sunday session, and we're working through the campaign on Expert, which you can delightfully drop down the difficulty. So the difficulty is still Expert, but you can have a 4-person team and set the enemies to a 1-person level. So you get a 25% of the enemies, and it's nice. So we went through 2 more campaign levels. I got 2 more achievements that are just kind of cumulative, and one really weird miscellaneous one. But that's progressing nicely. I think we were about literally halfway through the campaign. So that probably means we get 2 more, or maybe 3 more sessions before we close out that campaign, and then maybe take 1 more session just to kind of mop everything up that we didn't get. So that'll be wrapping up relatively soon. Opens my Sundays up. I also have been kind of chipping away at my gamer tag. I did some ends, Netjitsu and Nightmares of the Deep. Those are just gamertag letters. And then Diablo 3, which I normally do on Tuesdays. We're on to Act 3. I did all my conversations, so that achievement's done. Killed Belial with all the challenges. Those 2 are done. I only got 6 left. 6 achievements left. Nice. So 2 bosses, 2 challenges, and a buttload of gold. And then equip like level 60 items, which I have. It's just I'm trying to earn gold, so I don't want to put I can just hold on to level 60 items, get the achievement, and then get rid of them. I should probably just do that, get it off the table. Then my final thing, and this is my win of the week. I had mentioned last show that I was going to have a Connect Saturday, if you recall. Mm-hmm. I set up the 360 Connect, and I started playing Connect Adventures for the random to-do list. And this was for the recording living statues, which means you got to play through the story, quote unquote story. And man, I ended up having to play like 16, maybe even 20 of these games, which they're not long, but like 20 Connect games where you have to jump and flail your arms and do that. It's like, and I work out, like I'm in pretty good shape now. But all this kickboxing's been hurting my leg. And so now I'm like jumping in a stupid raft or, whatever in the middle of the night too, of course. So that was a pain in the butt, but I ended up getting it. So I played for that about 2 hours of that. I was like, well, but the Connect's already set up. So I might as well get my other Connect Sports Season 2, which was downhill skiing. Did that on my second try. I mean, that was easy. You just had to dodge obstacles. And I took the first try to understand, like, what are even the mechanics? Like, they didn't explain it very well. So I hit a bunch of obstacles. I'm like, oh, I got to lean. Okay, there we go. So then the next attempt was like, oh, smooth sail, and there we go. And so then I said, all right, fine. Now the Connect is up. It's not quite midnight yet. I still have a little bit of time. We got to give it a shot. I have to try Connect Fun Labs Mars rover landing. I have 3 stupid achievements left, and it's for landing perfectly with that dumb thing, getting a 5-star, and that's it. Like and like flying 10 times or something, which would happen anyway. That was so infuriating. It was so infuriating. Because the tracking is just not great. We all remember how bad the original Connect was, but suffice it to say, I was doing my thing, and so the nice thing is that to get the perfect landing, you only have to worry about the third stage, because there's 3 stages to it coming in. There's one where you have to just move your body to stay inside of a target. Easy enough, but even if as long as you don't catastrophically fail, you're fine. So you stay in the target. Then the next one, you have to do hand signals to flash when to activate these sensors. Okay, that's not so hard either, right? That's like just Dance Dance Revolution with your arms, essentially. It's annoying because there's a glitch in one of them where it'll quick shoot, and it'll auto fail one of them. So you can't never get perfect, but that doesn't matter because that's not what gives you the achievement. The achievement all happens in the third and final session where you are landing this rover. And landing it, you have to hold your arms out like you're flapping your arms like a bird. And if you raise them high in the air above your head, that puts on the brakes. And if you lower them down, that turns off the brakes. And you can, if you move your left one up and your right one down, then you're pumping the brakes on the left and your ship is going to veer off to the side.
Wait, up is brakes and down is not?
Yeah, because you're putting downward thrusters.
Ah, gotcha.
You're turning the thrusters on.
Okay.
Essentially is how that works. Well, so you got to do that. And you have a fuel gauge, and so I'm coming in. So I kind of come in a little hot, and then I raise at the last minute, essentially go to a dead stop, and then just try to get down because it'll tell you how fast you're falling. And so I'm just kind of feathering down. Here we go, and then yes, touchdown, perfect. So then it starts running through, and it's target accuracy, and the accuracy doesn't matter. You can literally land anywhere, so I just go straight to You can land anywhere just to get the perfect, the hull integrity or whatever. So it's that score is dreadful, and then it's okay, hull integrity, 49 out of 50. What the hell? Come on!
No!
What did I even hit? I was 6 inches off the ground when I went. How is that damage? That's what I mentioned. The stupid frail piece of tinfoil from last show. Oh my God, I retried this level probably 15 times and I was like, now I'm I don't even care what time it is. I'm finishing this damn game. And I did. I finally got it. Oh man, it was so rewarding to finally get this stupid thing. And so that ties a bow on my 2014 goal of completing every Connect Fun Labs game that I own. I know I could technically do Connect Sparkler, but I'm not paying $2 for it or whatever. So all the free ones, I am done. Connect Fun Labs, see ya. And that is my win of the week.
Very nice.
Yes. Okay. Win of the week aside, I think it's time we talk some news. I think the biggest piece of news to come out of here is this. I don't know if you can help me out here. The simplified achievement system. Microsoft is they're opening up to developers to kind of just make things easier for developers. I mean, that's been their whole goal since. Well, I don't even know when it started, but really the messaging that came out of E3 was like, we want this to be as easy as possible for all the independent developers, for developers in general, but to really like boost up the indie scene, let people get their games onto our console. And so we want to make life as simple as possible. And so one way that they've done this is through this Windows UWP achievement system here. And this isn't the only thing in this UWP update, but Prue, help me try to figure this out because I'm not terribly tech savvy.
Sure.
So this is kind of over my head here, but there's a couple of things in here that have me a little nervous.
Nervous?
So, yeah.
What made you? Okay, so from reading the article, which comes from Microsoft, so it's about the Microsoft Windows Dev Center. It's about as official as you're going to get. It seems like the big thing here is, which surprises me because I guess I didn't understand quite how achievements worked before. And so you'll forgive me if I'm getting a little bit of this wrong, but it seems like now they're creating this system where it's basically just simplifying the achievement call. So like it's saying, I guess at this point now the developers have direct access to just the achievement system. So they say, hey, yes, this achievement's unlocked. That's it. There was some sort of check done before, or it was through some other kind of convoluted system that I kind of combined in there. So it seems like it's just kind of a quicker route to directly to the achievements, so that there's less likely something is going to happen to kind of muddle it up or screw it up.
Yeah, because they're essentially just kind of keeping everything in game, right? I mean, all the achievement checks, it's like all internal loops.
Yeah.
That's really what the simplified system is, because the way it works now is you got this cloud-based system where it checks with the cloud servers to determine, oh, hey, does everything work out on the system? Oh, yep, we're good. Okay, then it sends the data back, and that's pretty much the headaches from all those done unlockings, right? Because the game would be like, yeah, you're good, you got it all, and then it wouldn't sync up with the cloud correctly, and so it would never push through. And they've cleaned that up quite a bit. I mean, we haven't had nearly as many issues, but it sounds like that's just a pain in the butt for devs to try and work around.
For me, the biggest thing, the lead that's buried in this article that I'm only assuming from what I've read, but the way that they said it's going to be set up is that you're going to have a tracking system, essentially, for every achievement. So you're going to be able to assign an achievement anywhere between 1 and 100, and obviously when you reach 100, you have that achievement, which I would assume that means that every achievement that uses this new simplified achievement system has a tracker on it, which would be awesome. That's one of the big things I think people kind of say, hey, what would you do to improve the achievement system? Well, put trackers on everything. That way you don't have to. And they say here inside the article that you can only increase the tracker, you cannot decrease it, which may mean that we could play with that, depending on how it's implemented and stuff. But
I mean, there's been plenty of games where like you can kill something, die, reload that checkpoint, kill it again, and that pluses the tracker, and it can never go down.
Exactly. So that would be nice. I mean, clever developers could get around that sort of thing, but
yes,
certainly. I think that kind of exploit will become more common anyways. But really, I just love the tracking because it's just nice to know if you have to reach 1,000 kills with the shotgun and you're like, God, am I close? And then you look at your tracker and you're like, oh my God, I'm only at 16 or 600 or whatever. And you're like, But it's just nice to know because you can set your expectations. You can kind of plan your playing out a little bit better. But that to me was the biggest thing. I think.
Well, and it's funny we talk about tracking now, and like now that we have it, and you just think back to when we used to boost. I mean, even there's plenty of games that don't track, especially on the 360. It doesn't track at all. But like, it seems like so archaic when we'd be like, "Oh, are we done yet?" Jeez. Yeah. But now like the games that do implement it, and if there's like a grindy achievement or something, you can actually when Snap was a thing, but you can actually still have it on your overlay and watch the bar move. Like, am I doing it right? Nice. Oh yeah, look at that! I am doing it right. It's actually going up. Fantastic. Like I'm not completely wasting my time. So you got stuff like that, which is super helpful, especially if tracking is implemented more widely. There's this weird thing here, though. So they have like a two-columned kind of what's different between the 2017 achievement system and the cloud-based achievement system that's currently in place. And there's this one line here that says challenges. And it says the cloud-based system that we have now supports challenges. The new system, challenges are not supported. That's a little weird.
So there's actually a little bit of an FAQ at the end here, and it actually specifically addresses this issue. So I'm just going to read it because this is, if you're interested in the challenge system, at least they'll give you a reason why they're going away. It asks, why are challenges not supported in this new achievement system? And Microsoft says that usage data across Xbox games has shown that the current implementation and presentation of challenges does not fulfill a need for most game developers. We will continue gathering developer input and feedback in this space and endeavor to deliver future features that are more on point with developer needs. The newly released Xbox Arena is an example of a feature that introduces new competitive capabilities for Xbox games in a new but similar direction. I think they're dead. I think that's it.
That statement pretty much says it all, right?
Yeah. I don't know anybody that was super into achievements. Not to say I'm sure there were people, but
you mean challenges?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I know a lot of people that are actually really into achievements, but challenges.
Hey, I'm one of those people.
Yeah, I know you. So I don't know. I do think it was a very, very, very small part of the community, and certainly the developer kind of support for that thing has dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. At this point, I don't really know that it's that surprising to hear this news.
The one holdout it's not even the one. I mean, there have been others who have done that, but one of the most consistent ones was the Undead Labs community, the State of Decay community, and even now though, like they're redoing all the challenges from last year, so they'll be like, oh, it's the Fireworks 2017 version, and it's still kill 50 zombies with explosives. It's like, oh, so you guys have given up too. Like, you're not even coming up with new challenges. You just are rehashing and just putting a different date on it. And it's like, I thought it was great for that community where they kind of embraced it a little bit and found a way to work together to do that. But now that I'm sure all their focus is on 2, and like, so there's not really going to be time to kind of track these and keep setting them up all the time. So they're like, let's whatever's easiest, let's just redo that. Fine, I get it, but you start losing the support of people who are actually using the system, and then that's really the end of the road for it because you have no advocates. Nobody wants to stand up and say, no, we really need these because they're still important. And that's not to say I agree with it. Like I do not care about a challenge. I do not like them, and I think they're dumb. So good riddance. But
I don't disagree. I've never cared. They've seemed too similar to achievements, so whereas to be slightly confusing, and they don't really add anything for the user experience. If say Undead Labs wanted to kind of continue this thing on, there's nothing to stop them from developing their own leaderboard type system where everybody has to work for this thing. I don't know that Microsoft necessarily needs to provide that infrastructure. It seems if it's going to be a community-based game and you want to kind of set these competitive or cooperative things up, it wouldn't be a hard thing to do. So I don't think we're really losing much at this point.
Yeah. Here's another one of those FAQs that I think is of particular interest as well. Not to say that it's changes much, but they're addressing it. Is does the 2017 system include offline unlocks? Now that you're in game, right? Do you need an internet connection? I'll read their response here. If the title unlocks an achievement while the device is offline, the Update Achievement API will automatically queue the offline unlock requests and it will auto-sync to Xbox Live when the device has re-established network connectivity. Similar to the current cloud-powered achievement system, achievements unlocks will not occur while the user is offline. So pretty much the exact same that's happening right now. Yep. You don't have to worry about getting offline unlocks, so that you will have timestamps and things like that. I'm curious though if you can set up these queues, if this opens the door for any sort of shenanigans that you could do on the game side, since it's not tied into the cloud for the achievement checking now. Is there ways that you could get in there and mess with the system coding and find ways to get around it, so that then you do stuff offline, then you get back online, the system just does then a new check and says, oh, okay, yep, internally you've unlocked all these things, and so here you go, here's your timestamps.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully not. Obviously,
I agree. I loved how relatively robust the Xbox One achievement system has been. I haven't caught wind of easy ways to cheat, and I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure people are actively trying to find ways to do it for whatever reason. And we can't have any good things. That's why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Overall, though, I will say that this simpler, easier achievement system seems like an improvement in a lot of ways. Obviously, we'll have to wait until it's implemented before we can actually start to see it in the real world. But it doesn't seem like, from our perspective, our end, that it's going to change too much, and everything that it does change seems to be for the better. So that's good.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be dramatically different for us at all. But I guess we'll have to see when that comes out. We'll move on to some Titanfall 2 information. I'll tell you, Respawn has shown a teaser trailer for some upcoming expansions, an update to the game where they're adding frontier defense. So I know everybody missed that and are going to be happy that comes back. I don't recall. I'm not sure if there's been details on whether or not that's going to have achievements or a title update associated with it. I think the general consensus is no, that it will not, since they did not focus a lot on the multiplayer aspect of the game in general. But, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, Frontier Defense is a pretty beefy mode, and they, that last time Frontier Defense came into the game, it was a significant title update and added a boatload of achievements. So, be curious to see how that affects the game moving forward. So this next story I thought was hilarious. I don't know if you saw the video at all, but it was at EVO. What does EVO stand for? It's that fighting game.
Yes, it's the big fighting game.
Do you know what it stands for?
I don't. In fact, I'm sorry. We could look it up real quick.
If there was only some sort of tool that we had that could help us.
Here, EVO stands for the Evolution Championship Series.
Oh, that's it? It's just a short for Evolution?
The largest and longest running fighting game tournaments in the world.
I figured it was an acronym for something. Yeah. Anyway, so EVO is being aired actually on ESPN. I don't know if you knew that.
That's crazy, right?
It turns out esports are a thing. I don't know. Maybe you didn't hear.
I got yelled that to me at the Microsoft press conference. So yeah, I heard that esports are kind of becoming a thing, but
so EVO, of course, is popular for fighting games. That's what it is, and they're trying to do the best of the best with the fight. I think I have 12 or 15 games that they highlight as part of the EVO series. Smash Brothers, I think Tekken's in it this year. Anyway, Street Fighter V is a popular one, and it was in the finals match where Ryota Inui, I can't even pronounce his last name, Kazunoko, I can't even do that either. Anyway, I need the phonetic spelling of these. He was playing in the finals match when all of a sudden, they paused his game. They turned it off and they said, hang on. They came down. The guy's like, you can watch it on the video too. He's like, what's going on? What are you talking about? Yeah, we're gonna have to ask you to change your character. He was playing Cammy. You have to change her outfit because we cannot air this on TV for decency standards. So you need to do an alternative costume where she wears boy shorts. Because if the Cammy that he was using is the one with the ridiculous green thong leotard that I think the leg hole, that arch that goes above your hip, doesn't start till her armpits.
It's just a string, yeah. So it's so funny because as much as I hate Street Fighter, God, I just hate fighting games. I'm terrible at them. Yeah. My character when I play Street Fighter is Cammy, and I don't know, maybe she's just the easiest to button mash with. I don't know, but. Yeah, I've kind of always thought her. So there's two sides to this story. I've kind of always thought her outfit was ridiculous. On the other hand, making them change it also equally silly and ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But I guess it makes sense. Well, by a company owned by Disney, right at this point. I don't know. It seems like such a silly thing to get hung up about. Like, did they get a call? Or was it somebody from ESPN that was like, "Oh, guys, no, we can't do this."
Apparently this happened in 2016 too, where one of the characters had kind of a thong. Micah has a thong outfit, and they were asked to change the thing, but it ultimately the request came down from up top. He walked there and he was asked to change content, and the dude didn't have a clue why. He was like, "What? And he's just so confused as to what's going on. But yeah, they kind of stopped the match and they went back to the character select. They could reset them. They had started the match and they hit reset. Presumably they didn't want to start pixelating her behind, and there must not be a tape delay on the Evo finals. Yeah, I don't. It's. Let's just say it's not a terribly practical outfit. Maybe it is. Maybe the flexibility. That's what she's going for. But it seems a little uncomfortable. You know what it looks like? It looks like when Borat wore that thong in his movie.
You're not wrong. Yeah. It is a ridiculous outfit for a ridiculous. I mean, you've all played these games and stuff, and it's just whatever. It's just what these developers do, and it's silly and whatever. But I don't know. It just seems so crazy to me. They take this competition stuff super seriously.
Oh my gosh, yes.
To stop a match in the middle of it to change the character's outfit. It's like, if that's not part of the rules, you know what I mean? It seems like they're kind of delegitimizing the competition at that point.
Well, and to think that it happened last year and they didn't sit down ahead of time and say, okay, these characters are off limits to be aired in the finals. These outfits. So you just have to do an alternative costume before moving into it. How is that not discussed?
Yeah.
It seems like that totally is okay. Yeah, provocative dress is part of this thing. If they were going to play Dead or Alive, right? And it's okay, we're going to turn off the bikini modes. We're going to have, you got to do your more form, your normal costumes. Actually, I think the normal costumes are even more appropriate. But, you pick, here are the acceptable for airing costumes that you could use. Because ultimately, not that I think it's going to change anything from their fighting perspective, but think of Rocket League, right? The hitbox on all those cars is the same, isn't it?
No, it's actually not.
Okay,
the turning
so they
radius,
are different?
The hitbox, yeah, there's slight differences between each car.
Okay.
So it's not exactly a fair comparison.
Sure.
I will say this, that if these people are playing competitively, professionally, even the tiniest detail can throw them off.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. I don't think there's an in-game consequence for that, but there certainly is a for the player. There's going to be some sort of okay, I've been playing 4,000 hours of this character for the past 6 months. I'm used to this character looking in this manner. And if you had told me, I'm sure that nobody would have a problem with it. But to stop the match right in the middle,
Yeah.
I feel like that makes it very unfair for the other player. You know,
Well, other player, I could see
I'm
both,
sorry for that-
both
for that
players coming in and saying, "What is this shenanigans? Like, he's setting this up. He did that on purpose." And the other guy's going, "Hey, you called ahead and you got me." You know, I think both of them would think, "Hey, the other guy's throwing me off my game."
yeah. So I'm waiting for you mentioned, and I'm just going to sneak this in here. You waited for. Or you mentioned that Smash is also there, and I'm waiting for them to say, okay, next year nobody can play Zero Suit Samus or Bayonetta.
Yeah, right.
Because those are the only characters that would be deemed inappropriate. But anyways, it's silly. It seems silly.
Well, and those
Make your rules.
those Pokemon don't wear pants.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Make your rules, Evo and ESPN, and stick to them. But make them, maybe a little bit before you start the finals match or whatever you're in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, before you get real deep into that. Speaking of competitive multiplayer, PUBG, Player Unknown Battlegrounds. Have you watched any of this yet?
I have not.
God, you got to get on Twitch and watch this, man. It's so much fun, and it's like there's no reason for it. Actually, it was funny. I was listening to some...
Beam, right? When you said you Beam, was Beam was what you meant to say?
Yeah, I should have said Mixer.
Oh, I'm sorry. So now we're both confused. Yeah.
But just watching these games, and I heard somebody mention it too, where it's like the gameplay is actually kind of boring because not a lot can happen. I mean, especially if you're a camper and you're just kind of crawling around trying to stay low and just trying to survive, like you typically don't have a lot of action. But what happens is that as the game progresses, the tension just gets so much higher, and it gets to the point of like you feel really, really invested, and some of these just organic moments just kind of pop up and are really, really exciting. And so you have, it's like a baseball game, right? Where it's just kind of mundane, and then when something happens, it's like just outstanding at times. Anyway, super popular right now, and like I said, it's fun to watch. I'm curious about if this is going to sustain when we get to the Xbox ecosystem with this, but PUBG has now entered the top concurrent online user count ever on Steam. Okay, now they're not number one, but they are in the top 10. Here are the records. They have just recently surpassed, for fourth place now, they're alone in fourth place, passing Grand Theft Auto 5.
I was just going to ask what Grand Theft Auto was. Yep.
For most played. Do you want to give a crack at the top 10, what they are?
All top... Oh, God, I couldn't do that. I would assume...
On Steam, where would you think?
Counter-Strike has got to be up there.
Number 2.
Yeah.
850,000 online users in April of 2016.
Dota on there?
Dota, number 1.
Yeah.
1.3 million users, March of 2016.
All right, let's see if I can
That's
do it.
That's got to be the international, right? I thought that was earlier in the year. But they have 1.3 million. Jeez Louise.
Let's see if I can hit the third one, because I want to roll. I did 2, 1, 3. What's going to be 3?
I don't think you'll get this one.
I don't think I will. I don't even know. Those were my two big guesses.
Yeah.
Go ahead and reveal it.
Fallout 4.
Oh, okay.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. It's kind of a more recent game, so more
400. Well, actually, it peaked even after those other two in November of 2015, when it was released. 472,000. So there you have it. 1.3 million, 850,000, 472. PUBG 382.5. And the most ever for Grand Theft Auto 5, then in fifth place, is 360, followed by Payday 2. Wow, that's pretty high for Payday 2 in sixth place. 250, 250,000. No Man's Sky in seventh. Civ 6, Left 4 Dead 2, and Terraria round out the top 10.
Rocket League is on that list.
I was actually surprised it wasn't on there.
Yeah, I was hoping. I was hoping it was going to, even if it was last, I was going to be yes.
I wonder if you can find that. Oh, hey, I bet I can click right here. this big orange highlight that says Steam's top 100 popular games.
Oh, there you go. Oh, top 100. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I would love for Microsoft to reveal these kinds of lists.
Today's top games: Dota 2, Counter-Strike, PUBG in third, H1Z1, Payday 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, Team Fortress 2. Jesus, wow. Team Fortress 2.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Warframe, Ark, Survival Evolved, and Rainbow Six Siege. That was today's, as of recording, top. Man, Team Fortress 2. I remember, so I played Team Fortress 2 with my roommate back in college, and I was never into competitive multiplayer. I didn't like first person shooters. Like I was strictly Nintendo guy, and so like I never played any of that stuff. I liked GoldenEye, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty good at GoldenEye, right? Because like every douchebag high school kid when he gets to college, and so my buddy's like, well, you know, yeah, I play on PC. I play some shooters. You know, I'm on a Team Fortress clan. Like, this is the first I've ever heard of clans. He's like, actually, I have some practice tonight, so I gotta focus on that. I'm like, what practice? Like, you gotta practice a video game? What the hell kind of nerd are you? Like, anyway, so he's like, well, I said, well, I like video games. Why don't you tell me? You know, let me learn this. I never played like a competitive first person shooter. Let me just see. So he set up a 1v1 match, him versus me, in Team Fortress 2, in like that one of the, I can't remember because I boosted that game forever ago, but he's like, okay, so you know, here, just go and you know, here's the shoot, here's the run, jump, whatever. His like I attribute his teaching style to that of Mr. Miyagi. He essentially then would go around and snipe me in the head before I had any idea what the hell was going on, and then would simply say, like, I'd be like, oh, what the hell happened? He's like, here's my advice to you. Get good. Like, it's like just that was like literally the only thing he could teach me about how to do that game was just, I'm going to keep shooting you, and if you don't want me to, stop getting shot. Like, that's not how you teach someone to play a game. It was just awful. So that's my Team Fortress 2 experience, and it did not sit well. Okay, so that's top games by current player. That's not what I want to see. So where's Rocket League? Tabletop Simulator? What the hell is that? There's a ton of games on here I don't even know. You know what's funny? So the Disney Channel now has a dedicated block to video games. They're just launching this now. There's like a 2 or 3 hour window block called Disney XD, and it's reminiscent of like what G4 used to be as a channel, but this is Disney, and so it's like heavily focused on that teen crowd. And so I've been watching some of their shows. Okay, and so they have one called Polaris Primetime. And it's by the dude who does Video Game High School, Jimmy Wong, I think. And so he has like, it reminds me of like, you know, you've seen TMZ before?
Sure.
Where you got that, you know, that douchebag with leaning over a cubicle and then they just talk about the news kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like that, where like the 4 or 5 hosts are sitting around on couches and stuff. And then there's like a bunch of people standing around who are like, the quote unquote talent sitting on the couch are all like, kind of younger kids, you know, like in their early 20s, late teens, maybe even mid 20s, maybe pushing it. But then like the people standing in the background are like I can clearly see like 40-year-old women back there, and like, you know, like I'm sure they're devs or they're, you know, producers and things. They're part of the production of the show, and so it's like, so they're trying to make this little atmosphere here, but like they'll do some, so they'll play games. And they got a couple characters on there that I think they're just trying way too hard. And one of them, they're playing Goat Simulator. They had like an entire show dedicated to Goat Simulator. And so they're trying to do like, hey, we're doing wacky goat things on TV. Look at this. And so like the one guy's like, I just put my tongue on a Ferris wheel. Woo! And he's going around in a circle, and then like they cut to like the crowd, and like there's this older woman who's going, oh, did you see that? Like, oh, and I'm like, God, this is like, I just want to barf. I just want to barf. It is awful. It sounds
like a super corporate way of doing YouTube videos. Like they're
right?
just trying really hard to capture that audience.
So it was like watching just a total train wreck. It was like a human being on fire. You're like, this is interesting for all the wrong reasons. And so so then I watched a different program, and it was called Player Select, I think. And so this is set up. They have it. Their splash screen, their home screen, is a joystick, and then there's like pixelated images of 6x18 influencers, streamers, and whatnot. And so then they're like, player select, and then one of those will materialize into this person's stream, and it will pull up on screen. And these are all like curated things. And so I think the one I watched, and I'm assuming they like pick maybe 4 or 5 streamers, and they kind of jump to them playing different games throughout this episode. I don't know. I watched it once, but so they had like, I'm sure they're popular. Like that's not my crowd. Like I don't really follow these influencers, but they're like, hey, here's this dude, and he's playing Layers of Fear, and I was like, oh, cool. I kind of like Layers of Fear, and like, and knowing that this is for Disney Channel, so I'm not gonna see like. And even Layers of Fear doesn't have combat or guts or anything, but like watching this dude freak out on TV, I'm like, oh, okay. There's some bits there that I could see enjoyable. And it's like, oh, here's a door. Oh, okay, well, player select, and it switches on me, and I'm like, God. Well, I was interested in what that was, and now you're going to a different influencer, and so then it moves over to another screen, and it was, I think his name's like Lulz or Lulu or whatever, and he's playing this freaking iPad game on his stream. It's like the Tasty Fish, where you got to like move the goldfish around, not get eaten by sharks, crabs, or fisherman nets. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. Like, this game looks stupid. Like, and so we watch him play that for 45 seconds, and player select, and it moves to this other crew of 4 people who are playing Tasty Robot Chicken Unicorn Horse or something. I don't even know what the name of the game was, but it was like this weird 4-player platforming game. And so they did like a level with these 4 who were a disaster. Like not an influencer I would follow. And then it's like, oh, we'll go back to Septicai to watch him play Layers of Fear. Like, oh, okay, we're back to this door. And then it's like, player select, comes back to this door after 45 seconds. What do you think's behind the door? Yeah. And like, they'll give me like 4 options. It's like, stop engaging with me. Just show me the video. Like, I don't want this.
Oh man.
So then they open, and it's like ADD. It's like watching ADD. Like if I had ADD, this is what I think it would be. Where like, and it's so frustrating, and I'm sure if you are clinically diagnosed with ADD, it's as frustrating as watching this show, because your attention span is being pulled, and you don't want it to be. It's like, just give me an experience here. Like I'm gonna have a seizure watching this damn show. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna go back to it because I gotta see, like, does it get any better? Is it?
So are you? Yeah. So maybe we should have like a regular segment on the show, Freem reviews Disney XD or whatever this is, and because you seem to be really
passionate about this. Let me give you another. I'll give you another TV review here, because we watched, and it's not going to be on Descendants 2, right? My daughter, she's 6. She loves the Descendants, and so Descendants 2 just came out tonight. Maybe it was a while ago. Anyway, we watched it tonight, and they're super excited about it, and they're having like all this new programming that's coming out on Disney, and so they aired this, and then they bookend it with a new show that they're introducing starring Raven Simone. Do you remember Raven Simone?
Oh yeah, That's So Raven. Yep.
That's So Raven. Okay, did you ever watch That's So Raven?
Oh no, God no, that was way after my time. She was also on. She was the little girl on
Cosby Show.
Yeah, but also, oh God, what was the '90s show that she was on? TGIF?
Cheetah Girls.
What was it?
She was in the movie Cheetah Girls.
Let me double check to make sure I'm right. Go ahead, keep going.
Anyway, so I guess, and I never watched That's So Raven, but my wife seems to think that this new show of hers called Raven's Home, when Raven Simone is now, I think she's my age. So
hang in with Mr. Cooper. Sorry, that was bothering me. Yep.
How old is she? Is she 32? 33?
She is 85, so she's 31. 32,
yeah, okay. So she's 32. So now this new show is called Raven's Home. And so, like, you know how like a sitcom has it's taped before a live studio audience, and then they do their first bit, and it's a Disney show. Okay, so like the production quality is better than garbage, but not good, and you get like some of those really canned jokes that are delivered by kids, and so like their timing is off, but it's like, yeah, you're like 8 years old, so like I'll give you a pass on how awful that was delivered because you obviously didn't write the joke, and so it's not good, but you're kind of like you'll give them a pass. So I'm watching this setup, and it's so Raven-Symoné is an African-American actress, and so there are two children arguing outside of a bathroom who are both African-American, and so it's like, oh, okay, it's her house, these are her kids. And so then they go into the bathroom, and there is this, like, emaciated, redhead little boy in there who is spraying copious amounts of Axe body spray all over the place. And this kid is probably 6 or 7 years old on the show, and like... honestly, toothpick arms. I mean, like, it was almost disgusting to see how thin this kid was, because just little kids are like that. And so then, like, some of the jokes were hitting a little blue, and so I was like, I don't know if I want my kids watching this, but anyway, we'll let this play out. So then this like random white woman comes into the bathroom, and like. It was one of those Norm scenarios from Cheers. I don't know. Do you understand that reference? Are you old enough to get the...
I know the show Cheers, okay. And I know who Norm is, but I don't know enough about the show to
So
understand.
Every time Norm came into the bar, the entire bar would say, Norm! Right? Yeah. So this woman comes in and like peeks her head around the window or the door frame, and everyone's like, yeah! The crowd cheers and gets really excited. I'm like, did I miss something? I don't even know who this actress is. Like, is she famous and I don't get it? Is this like a Mr. Wilson on the Fence thing with Home Improvement? I'm confused here. And so then she delivers some line about starting a fire or something. I don't know. I'm like, why? And why is she in the house? And you got these two black kids, and you got this weird looking ginger and her. I'm like, and the shower behind them is got the curtain. And I'm like, Raven-Symoné's in the shower. I mean, I feel the setup coming, and then sure enough, she does the thing. I'm like, okay, hold on. So they're in a house with one bathroom. You've got at least 3 kids and 2 adult women. I'm just so at a loss here. And so then they do the intro, and it's like, wait, that is the intro. Like, is she running an orphanage? Is she like, what's happening here? And then like, thankfully, I'm sure this is the pilot, right? And so Raven, like, within the first minute is like, hey, who's going to party? That you live with your best friend because of economic reasons that you have to have the same house. Yeah, let's dance, like, as a joke. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Raven. Like, I totally appreciate you set the stage for why the hell you're living with some crazy white woman and her little ginger boy, who, like, is just added for comedic effect. And then so, okay. Show plays out a little bit longer, and then all of a sudden, like, there's these weird cuts to the camera where the actor like looks at the camera and then it zooms in on their eyeball. And I have to assume that this is related to That's So Raven, because I want to think she had psychic powers. Am I understand? Do I remember that correctly?
I mean, I can't say I've ever even seen an episode, but from the little I know, I don't think so. I have no idea though.
Me neither.
Psychic powers? Really?
Yes. Well, so this one, Raven's Home, Raven-Symoné does have psychic powers, and so she'll see into the future. They like zoom in her eye, and you'll see a scene from the future, and then it'll pan back out, and she'll, obviously know what's going to happen. Well, then at school, yes, her son...
The title character drew on her psychic powers.
There you go.
Apparently she's okay. All right.
Okay, so there you go. So this is in the Disney cinematic universe. There's continuity here in the Raven universe. But now her son apparently has this ability, and he's just learning it here in the pilot episode. That was the pitch to get this show off the ground. Let's just say I would not have greenlit this. Granted, it's not my money. It's Disney's money. Maybe it gets better. I will not be participating in future shows. So there's it's not a review, Zed, but there's there's my Raven's Home suggestion for you.
That was thoroughly entertaining, I have to say. That was pretty amazing. Sounds like you've gotten exposed to some interesting entertainment.
It was a disaster. Speaking of, that's not even a good segue.
I don't think we can segue out of this one, Freem. We just got to cut it.
Well,
and just go
here,
for it.
I got it right here, because Raven is coming back to Disney after a long hiatus from being on the show, just like Casey Hudson back at BioWare. He is Aaron Flynn is leaving. He is out of BioWare now, and Casey Hudson is coming back to head up the BioWare company. He was working at Microsoft doing HoloLens. He was like the creative director at HoloLens. I don't even know what that means, because they weren't really focused on games, right? Is he putting together a really compelling Skype narrative? Getting the through line on Outlook so that, their storytelling is more
Spending
compelling.
a lot of time in Excel, so you can really put those cells in your world. It's going to be fantastic.
You really want to feel it, right? Internalize your fonts. Your wingdings have to hit home. So anyway, Casey Hudson is back at BioWare. Presumably, though, that it wouldn't be to do anything in regards to Anthem. I mean, that seems pretty well buttoned up at this point. Maybe make some modifications to it. But isn't BioWare working next on the Dragon Age?
Yes, but presumably they are
deep into that one.
Pretty knee deep into that one already. What I'm hoping for, please, course correction for Mass Effect. Please. So here's the thing about Casey Hudson, right? He to me, he can do no wrong, even though he did wrong. A lot of people kind of unfairly malign him for the decisions in Mass Effect 3, which, okay, you can have that opinion. I am less upset about Mass Effect 3 than a lot of people seem to be. But he made Knights of the Old Republic as well as the creative director on all three of the Mass Effect games. And, man, if there is somebody who knows Mass Effect and what makes it good, it's Casey Hudson.
Yeah.
And Mass Effect Andromeda, as good as it is good. It's got the bones there. And I would love for them just to put him right back on Mass Effect and say, because, obviously once Mass Effect 3 came out, there was this whole hoopla about the ending and kind of some public shaming going on. I'm sure he was over it after all those years and stuff. And at this point, it would be kind of a great redemption arc for him to come in and be like, okay, I'll make Andromeda 2. We'll make it awesome, amazing. It's going to be the Mass Effect 2 of Mass Effect Andromeda, which I guess isn't really that much of a stretch of an analogy, but you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. So this is what I'm hoping for. Dragon Age is fine. Inquisition was a great game. I assume whatever they're going to call the next one, I imagine the Inquisition is over at this point, but whatever, the next Dragon Age, I hope and expect it to be fantastic. And I think it's probably well into development at this point that he can't really influence it that much. Put him back on Mass Effect, right that ship, literally. And I'm excited. I hope that's what's happening here.
Yeah, I'm curious. I would be shocked if the new Mass Effect had any relation to Andromeda.
It has to, I think.
I don't think so. I think they go in. I think they use the concepts and say that, oh yeah, we sent another ARC ships out to this other galaxy.
Well, I guess they could do that.
Like this is Andromeda, I promise. And this is the Prodromeda.
Well, I don't see them abandoning their investment like that. If you remember back to Mass Effect 1...
You can still use the assets. That's the thing.
Well, no.
What are you losing? Right?
Well, you're losing that whole... you have to start a whole new narrative. I think there's enough meat in Andromeda's story to make something good out of it. I really don't think it was that much of a failure in that respect. So I think if he comes in, he does his thing.
Tightens everything up.
Yeah, tightens everything up, fixes all the... And I think he's the man to do the job, and I hope that's what we're rehiring him to do. And it would be cool. I don't know. At this point, it's kind of weird for them to make another Mass Effect anyways, with the way those series were built. The way Andromeda did it by sidestepping the whole issue of the story made sense, and it worked as far as that's concerned. So I don't know. It just... to go in a whole other direction that quickly.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of admitting failure, and I don't think it's beyond the realm of being saved. And so I hope that's what's going on.
I hope so too. I mean, I hope it doesn't suffer the Assassin's Creed Syndicate syndrome of having to follow up after, what was considered a disaster in Unity, where Syndicate, by all accounts, is a pretty decent game. It just followed up one of the biggest dropped balls in the series. And again, Andromeda, not hideous, but when you compare it to the original trilogy of, Metacritic 90s with a Metacritic upper 70s or whatever the hell that Andromeda ended at, it's like, yeah, well, you got expectations pretty high. They may not have ever lived up to those expectations, but they certainly couldn't have falling as pitifully short as they did. So good luck, Casey. I wish you all the best.
Absolutely.
We do have some news in terms of sequels. Of course, Comic-Con is going on right now. San Diego Comic-Con is it might be over. Well, no, it's this whole weekend.
Nope, it's still going on. Yep, the whole weekend.
So it's happening while we're recording. But Telltale got out on the front of Comic-Con with a bunch of big announcements. One where they had a big bold-faced lie and told everybody, no. Wolf Among Us, not happening. No Season 2. Fooled you. Season 2's coming. Wolf Among Us Season 2. We've got the Batman Season 2.
Yes.
And I think this one's prominently focusing on the Riddler, is what I've seen.
So it's actually the way they talked about it in the video is that the Riddler is going to probably be, kind of the forefront of the villains, but I think a lot of it is going to deal more with the Joker as well that we saw in Season 1. And they also mentioned plenty of other villains showing up. So just like Season 1, there was kind of obviously a major storyline there, but there was other things going on where you got to see and interact with these other people. So it sounds like it's more along those lines, and I'm super excited. Batman was my favorite Telltale game in a long time, so I'm really excited about that.
Interesting. The last announcement they made was Walking Dead Season 4. It is the last one. It is the swan song for Clementine. So
she's going to die.
I kind of think so, too.
Yeah, it's got to be. What else? How do you end the series?
It's interesting from a standpoint that, they can do pretty much whatever they want. Going into it saying that, this is it. We are done with the Clementine storyline after this. And, so that kind of leads up to, it gives you the opportunity, in Season 1, where, and that's just the nature of all these, is, certain characters may not move on to the next episode. And so knowing that there's nothing after this, everybody's future is in jeopardy. And whether or not they pick anybody up to do ongoing sequels, or they pass the baton, or whatever, I find it very, very hard to believe that the Walking Dead license will no longer be, pushed through Telltale. This is fairly lucrative for them. But can they capture the same magic that they had with the Clementine storyline? I don't know. I don't know if they can. I don't know if they will even try. But this is it for Clem and the Walking Dead Telltale series.
And just another thing to note here, something that kind of didn't get into the big headlines here, but they talked about Season 2 of Borderlands as well. And they said they'd love to do it, but it's at this point, there's no plans to do Season 2 of Borderlands. That's in Gearbox's hand, those characters and all of that stuff. So they said maybe at some point down the road, but I would not expect Borderlands Season 2 anytime soon. Tales from the Borderlands Season 2.
Right.
Soon,
We got it. Last thing we want to touch on is Microsoft. It reports their profits from last quarter. It's the end of the quarter, and so we've got the quarterly earnings report, since they are a publicly traded company. And there's some big numbers in here. Turns out Microsoft makes a lot of money.
It's weird, right? Being one of the largest companies in the world.
Yeah. Satya, he recently had an update just on the gaming piece of it, specifically, but said that the gaming business is now $9 billion and is growing in profitability. And so, I think because wasn't it like 3 years ago, like there was discussions that Satya was not a fan of Xbox and like there was talk about like selling the brand off.
Yeah, I don't think, we're not aware, obviously, of those kinds of
that's total speculation
and
yeah,
stuff,
absolutely.
right? But it didn't seem, well, of course, Xbox was in a very different place 2 years ago.
Yeah, it really was.
It's really nice to see this, that it's getting very, very healthy at this point. Obviously hardware costs come down over time. We're settling into this even though Microsoft is pushing some new hardware, you're kind of settling into this mid-generation kind of comfortable zone where everything is just smooth sailing at this point. It's just improvements are only being made at this point. There's no big risks or anything like that. So, and it's really nice. Sometimes we love to compare Sony and Microsoft, rightfully so, because they're competitors in this space. But really, if Microsoft is making some money off the Xbox, I don't think we have anything to worry about, and that's a lot of money. So
I'd be curious what these numbers look like getting closer to the Xbox One X launch.
Yeah.
If they take a big dip as, you got to start paying then your manufacturing partners, right? More money's going out the door to build these consoles. Like, I'm not sure they're captured here as part of their, because they do have their gross earnings, and they pulled in $24.7 billion with a B in revenue. So that's the money that came in, and then after you take out taxes, deductions, all that stuff, $6.5 billion of that is profit.
It's crazy.
That's a nice number. I mean, that's a nice profit.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious then, as we get into this next round of, because what does the attachment rate have to be to, mitigate some of the development costs that went into it? And is that captured here? Like, how do you, because you got all those salaries to deal with and stuff. And so, but that doesn't necessarily mean, that's internal productivity. So that's already captured in overhead. But now you have to go and spend money outside of your company to, to build new specs, new components, new pieces, new consoles. What is in here though is like, so now you got all this money, like, $6.5 billion. You can buy 3 Minecrafts with that, right? So do you think Satya might open up the purse strings, or Phil Spencer, and say, hey, let's go grab some more developers, first parties?
I don't know.
I personally don't think so.
Yeah, they don't seem very focused on that aspect of it. And I don't necessarily disagree with them, depending, obviously. It seems to be, well, an interesting thing that they put here, I wanted to cover, that they said that, where did it go? Oh,
the gaming revenue?
Yes, software and services revenue increased 11%, primarily due to a higher volume of Xbox Live transactions. So we're seeing this pivot from physical to digital, obviously. And
because then the next sentence directly mentions that the Xbox hardware revenue decreased 29%.
Yep.
That is embracing the digital age right there.
Yeah. So it means that 11% increase in that is where they're making their money. It's all of these digital services at this point.
It's games as a service. That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just based on kind of, especially after E3 and hearing Sony's just complete incompetence by cramming their shoe directly into their mouth and saying that they don't really want to spend time nor value the indie scene. Like, yeah, it's great they're there. Thanks for being on our platform, because we have so many PlayStation 4s out there, but we don't really want to give you the time of day. Whereas now Xbox has flipped the tables and says, we love everybody. Indies, come to Xbox. We have a beautiful home here, and you can develop your game, and we have all these avenues for you to make money via Game Pass or Games with Gold or whatever. That they've become the new breeding ground for these. And it, I was listening to it was an interview with, I don't think it was Neil Druckmann, but it was, the Naughty Dog guys. And the way that they talked about Sony And like when they met Mark Cerny and they were like, oh my gosh, and it was just so great working with them, and we had they helped us out so much when we were developing that we had just such a wonderful relationship. And I was like, well, yeah. So then when it comes time to sell, of course you want to go with Sony or make games with Sony because you've got such a close tie to them. I think the same thing happens with EA. Now of course Peter Moore's not there, but EA with EA Access and Microsoft, they had a really great synergistic relationship. And Madden on the Xbox, was there some help there through Peter Moore connection? But I think now what Phil Spencer's thinking is, okay, yeah, like who knows which one of these developers, and it was kind of my prediction, is that they're making a farm system. Like there's so many ways for all these developers, and there's so much awesome talent out there that some of these startup people are coming up with some really amazing content, like PlayerUnknown. There's an example right there. Him by himself, created this mod, and now everybody loves it. Now he's got a development team that he's building. Like I think he's like up to 15 to 20 people working on this game for him. Undead Labs started at 22, 23 people and is now over 100 working in that studio. Like, developing and fostering these Cuphead, 2 people, right? Yep, and if that game is super popular, you can imagine their follow-up game. They might still want to hand draw it, but if they get 40 more hands, they imagine what they could do with that type of a game and that concept. Again, it's creating these relationships within the gaming community where people value Xbox as a brand, as a awesome strategic business partner, and not simply we're the biggest, so where are you going to go? You're going to go to Steam? They don't give a crap about you. Valve doesn't care about you. You want to go to Xbox? Yeah. Have that tiny little market share. Yeah. Good luck over there. We're PlayStation. We've got all the big, we got so many consoles out there. I don't know, but I guess we'll see. It's nice to know, though, that that Xbox is profitable, and that the gaming industry is still relatively healthy. Although it is remarkable that we're still so hung up on a $60 game. It's so weird that the pricing hasn't changed for that. I mean, it's great, but it kind of has changed with season passes and things like that. But
I've paid $60 for a game in quite a while.
I know, me neither. I'm just looking at what just came out. Gigantic just launched this weekend. Are you going to play that at all? Another one of those free to play games?
No, probably not.
Same with me, but I'm I'm looking at all the free options I have, and it's like I literally could just pay $60 for my year membership and play tons and tons of free games.
Yep.
Like I don't have to pay any money to anybody anymore.
Plus games with gold. You can get a sizable collection very quickly just for the price of Xbox Live. It's amazing. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I did $60 Xbox Live, $30 EA Access, $10 a month Game Pass, I suddenly now own 500 games.
Yep.
Like, there you go. So for 1 month, I have paid $100, and I own 500 games.
What a time to be alive.
Unbelievable. We have some customer. Why do I keep saying customer? I've been dealing with customers all week. It's just driving me nuts.
I guess they could kind of be called customers now that they're giving us money, right?
I guess. Does that make us prostitutes? Well,
okay. I guess that's one way to jump into the analogy, but...
Well, what kind of service are we offering?
Well, we are offering our dulcet tones and excellent commentary.
Maybe. So
I guess that makes us... No, well, we won't get into that.
Well, our first one comes from Tatey, and he says, "Hey guys, so in the podcast you guys were talking about one of the community questions on how TA gets their stats and that the achievements aren't tracked." He says, well, the stats that TA gets are the same stats that you'll see on the achievement tab in the Xbox or the app, the Xbox app on your Windows 10 device. He says, I've attached a couple of photos, and we've all seen the achievement tab page there. He's like, these are the endpoints that just TA can pull from. So he said, unfortunately, these stats have really nothing to do with achievements. They're kind of unrelated, linked. It's just they're tracking time. They're tracking those things that are not necessarily tied to the achievement system. Now, hopefully, the simplified achievement system will output things that are a little bit more relevant and that TA can grab for stat tracking and becomes more widely available. But there you go. So it says hopefully that helped clear things up a bit. Quite, Tatey. Thank you. Appreciate that. $, Urban Spaceman has a question for you, Prue. Said you talked about having a tattoo of the Voyager Golden Record inscriptions, and which he says is very cool. And it reminded him that there is actually a related Easter egg in Elite Dangerous. You can fly out to the point where Voyager 1 is projected to be at in the year 3030 or 330. What? Hold on. 3300. I assume that's like
numbers are hard.
Yeah, numbers are hard. The year 3300 and visit Voyager 1 in the game. And then he asks, also, when are you going to start playing Elite Dangerous for realsy?
So this is actually really cool. I didn't know this. I wasn't aware. I would love to. Can you interact with it in any way? I'd love to know. I imagine it's not.
You can take a picture for sure.
I don't know. I can't remember the figures off the top of my head, but that's obviously relatively soon. I mean, what? 1,300 years in the future, of course. But space is big, as we know. Douglas Adams taught us that, and I can't imagine it's made it to the next system, so it's got to be in just the dark void between. But I'd love to know like some details about that. Maybe I'll look it up after the show. But I'd love to know like if you can interact with it in any way. If you can, don't blow it up, please. Anybody, if you can't blow it up, don't blow it up. It's
well, there's already
impressive.
Aliens out there. I've seen the game.
That's
There's
right.
aliens in Elite, so
That's
maybe
right.
they already got it and they're jamming to whatever music we put on there.
Some interesting music, actually. That's more for later. But I'll answer his other question, which is when am I actually going to really get into Elite? Because I did buy it and I played the tutorial. And I think I got 10 points in it.
Yeah,
It's as close to a dive as I've ever done, and then stopped playing. Something else distracted me. I do want to play it eventually. It's on that stack. That stack you have of games that you're like, yeah, I could play that.
yeah. No, I get that. I absolutely get that. What?
At some
So,
point, I'll go back
is there
to
a
it.
bunch of music like? So if the aliens get it, are they going to listen to Gangnam Style by?
Oh no. Well,
Psy?
the probe was launched in the 70s, I believe. So it's actually even then
So
it wasn't a lot of contemporary music. It was more
Yeah, it was all classical stuff.
well, classical. There's world music, so it was like there was some, I believe, African music on there. There was some blues on there as well. Just basically because the whole point was to show humanity, so it represents everybody. So it shows all these kind of eclectic.
So
pieces
like
of
they get to
music.
see the overt racism of the 70s. That's great.
Well,
That'd be
I
exciting.
It wasn't. It didn't just represent America. It was supposed to represent the whole planet. So you can actually look. You can look it up, and you can see the songs that are on that disc. But yeah, it's super cool. That is awesome. I don't know that I've ever seen a Voyager reference in a game before. So that will motivate me more than anything else, honestly,
All right.
to go out there. And
I got a space question for you, and maybe I'm gonna pose it out here because I know we have a bunch of listeners who play Elite Dangerous, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with speed of light travel, but and Einstein's theory of relativity. But as you approach the speed of light, time distorts, and you at traveling at those speeds do not age.
Correct.
And so, but the world still moves on around you.
Right.
So you take near light speed traveling in this game, right? So how can you get there by the year 3300? Like, does time move independently of you traveling light years at that speed, and they don't take the distortion of time into account?
I don't know how. I didn't play enough to learn how light speed travel works in the game. Usually science fiction writers will write in loopholes depending on what kind of propulsion they have. So, like Star Wars, for example, has hyperspace, which you actually go into a different type of dimension that allows for faster than light travel. That way you don't have to break the rules of relativity. Star Trek actually has you creating a warp bubble, which means you bend space instead of travel. So it's actually more like your.
Is that like living on a blanket and they just move the 2 points of the blanket so they touch?
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So there are different rules and different things on how these things are.
What about Futurama, where actually the universe moves around you? Like you actually stay stationary and the universe moves?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, there's lots of different theories. But yeah, relativity basically. So like if you are a beam of light that, or some photons, I guess, technically, that you are created on the sun and then you travel to the planet Earth, that from your perspective, no time has passed. You just instantly are at Earth or wherever you go to. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You're traveling at the speed of light. That's how relativity works. It slows down the further you get from that speed. So anyways, that's a little bit of a nerdy. And I like I said, I don't know how it works specifically in Elite, but I would like to learn because those are always fun conversations to have.
There you go. Elite Dangerous APB. Let us know. Let us know how it's breaking the laws of physics. Yeah. We got a question from Silence42, Casey Height. I think he's the production manager or the producer of the X1 Bros show. I don't know what his fancy title is, but anyway, he asks us a question, and he says, "Hey, at what point do you guys decide that an achievement isn't worth the amount of time to get?" Specifically, he says, "Hey, Randy, looking at you for Graw. I think I'm going to answer for Randy here. I think Randy doesn't care." Because completions are too important to him, that he will abuse himself to get whatever he needs to do or not even start it from the beginning. So I don't think there's a point of like quitting or like what that level is. Maybe he can follow up next week when he's back on this particular question. But Prue, where do you draw the line? Do you know going into a game, or do you take a game off your list saying, okay, well, I know I can't complete it because there's no way I'm going to do that? Or is it kind of more of a in flux than that? It's very dynamic because the two main factors to me are, am I enjoying the game? How much do I like this game? And how much time do I have to put in? And obviously it's a curve. So if I love the game, if it's Skyrim, right, I'll play it twice. I'll play it 3. If they come up with another stack for Skyrim, I'm going to play it again. I'll play it over and over and over and over. Or Rocket League, like we've talked about that. If it's a game that I moderately enjoy, Mass Effect Andromeda, I love Mass Effect. I have to go through and play it through for a second time at some point. I'll get to it eventually, I'm sure, because I have the series completion other than that game. That will motivate me. I'll go back to it. And then if it's a game that I absolutely hate and I think is terrible, Destiny, I'll never go back to it, probably, unless I'm motivated by some competition like random to-do list or something else. Yeah. So I'd like to think that I want to get as much that I have started completed as possible. But there just are some games I'm never going to beat Street Fighter 4. Why even bother go for it? No way. So maybe if I can get some of the smaller achievements done over time, but there's no way that I will ever get it done. So I'm just not even going to go for it. I'm kind of the same way, and you know, sounds weird, right? I'm a chronic planner. Like, I like to make spreadsheets. I like to look ahead and plan. And so I'll look at a game and say, okay, going into it, kind of what is my commitment level here? I'm typically good for campaign, completing a campaign. Like, I feel I owe it to the game to at least do that, provided it's a decent experience. Like, so that's usually my minimum threshold. So whatever achievements I can get through one playthrough using a campaign, that's kind of my baseline. Now, if it's a game I'm not necessarily into the campaign and I'm doing it for achievements, then throw a guide on there and it's, okay, how long is it going to take me to walk through a guide with this game? Then there's the multiplayer component, and that's typically what gets me, where I look at it and say, okay, what on this list am I immediately writing off? And, you know, additional playthroughs on hard typically get off the list. Mm-hmm. You know, play 100 matches, do this X amount of times where X is a number greater than 50. Those are usually off the list. But they are dynamic, you know, because, we'll start playing, and if, you know, for like Titanfall, for instance, I had written off Titanfall saying, okay, well, I'm not going to go to Gen 10. I'm just going to get some of these multiplayer ones and things. And now that I've been playing with this crew and we kind of got a good little system going here, and now as close as I am at Gen 8, I'm thinking, well, now I'm pot committed, right? Yep. I might as well go for the whole thing since I'm here. And I'm still enjoying myself playing with this crew, even though now we're getting to the point where, okay, now it's wearing thin. Now that enjoyment level, as awesome as it is to just get together and hang out and stuff, you've got half the people in the party playing other games, and the other half, kind of goofing around. We're still focused, but we don't quite get as much done. They're productive sessions, but not outstandingly productive because we just don't have as many bodies anymore. Which is fine. I mean, I can't blame people for not sticking around. I mean, they're done. Mm-hmm. So that's getting dangerously close to the, I don't think I want to do this. Diablo 3, for instance, I had mentioned on previous shows, I don't think I'm going to go for the 5 million. That's just a lot of gold to pick up. I can be done with everything except that one. Can I really, though? Can I really? Because now I'm feeling like, I'm at 2 million, and it's not that far away. I'm getting a decent amount of gold. I think that the hardest part's going to be because Koosh Moose is done. He got his 5 million. Mattism and Saucy are at 3.7 right now. So I will be left behind and be left behind by a lot. And so I'm going to have a big decision that happens when we all want to move to the Reaper of Souls 360 version, and I still have 2 million gold to get. Am I really going to play that by myself to get 2 million gold? Oh, I don't know. I really don't think I will. And so now that's a true testament of, okay, can I, is the draw of that completion enough to compel me to get it? That's going to be a tough decision. I don't think I can make it right now. And so I just need to work on getting as much gold as I can to make sure that decision is easier to make if I know, actually it's only another 2-hour boost. Okay, right. That's easy. Okay, well, it's an 8-hour boost now, actually. Okay, 8, that's a bit much, especially if I'm doing it by myself. Oh, I don't think I'm going to do it. So I don't want to have that conversation, but it's probably going to happen.
It's such a good point, though, that I didn't even think about. The social aspect of it is you're absolutely right, because there's no way in hell that I would do 4 stacks of Saints Row 4 if I wasn't boosting with Randy, or like you said, that I would be doing this Titanfall stuff if it wasn't for the group. Like, that's what you're there for. And sometimes you kind of create the boosting sessions and stuff to get this stuff done, but other times you're just like, oh, people are joining and doing this game. I have the game. Oh, well, that sounds like fun, and then you go in there and you have some fun that kind of motivates you to do it. That can definitely be a huge factor in kind of allowing you, like, if you have to suffer through 100 matches by yourself, it's a lot harder. It's a lot bigger of a grind than suffering through 100 matches with somebody to talk to, with a friend. For sure. You know what I mean? So that can definitely make all of those harder achievements seem much, much, much easier.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, even Zombie Area Trilogy that I'm working on, like, that game would be super fun by myself, and, like, I would just take longer to snipe, or I'd be a little bit more overwhelmed and panicky. But now I can have a casual playthrough with, 3 friends. We just talk and have some fun, but, like, I'm still getting the gameplay. I'm still, the ridiculous story. I'm having fun. And yeah, okay, it's going to take 3 months to complete because we're playing 1 to 2 hours a week. Like, yeah, that'll take some time, but it's fun to do. I look forward to doing it because, there's 4 of us. I know I'm going to make progress. Like, we're not going to just get to a point where we can't complete something. Like, we're dramatically out-leveling the game. And so, like, I know we'll just continue to make progress and move forward. And yeah, it's a slow pace, but I get to hang out. So, and hopefully that's what our boosting sessions can offer. So, those like with your Halo sessions, right? Yeah, I need to do Halo. I need to play Halo 4 campaign at some point, or Gears of War Judgment, like I mentioned. Gears of War Judgment is going to suck to play, but if I got some buddies to play along with me, and we just, hey, let's just commit to it, and we'll just once a week we'll just start chipping away at it. That makes that pill so much easier to swallow.
Yep, absolutely. So. And also sign me up for Judgment. I have to play that at some points.
Our final question comes from X Towers. I'm hoping I got to send him a text to make sure he knows about our get-together. He's a Minnesota native. And actually, it's pretty close to his house. I think he lives much closer to St. Paul than Minneapolis. Anyway,
so after party at his place. You heard it here first.
He says, before there were achievements, what games do you think you could legitimately say that you got the full completion in? He says, for me, Ocarina of Time was one of those. I got all the Skulltulas, the heart containers, all the upgrades. And he said, GoldenEye, I beat all the levels in the hardest difficulty. Rocker Dude chimes in. He says, Bully on the PS2. Did everything in that game. This was a fantastic question because I started to think about, it was fun for two things. You relived all the games that you just played a crap ton when you were a kid that didn't have achievements, and you just think, oh my God, yeah, I played that game every which way and backwards. So yeah, I would consider that a completion. But then I took it to the next step, and I started thinking, what the hell would the achievement list look like for something like that?
That's such an interesting. That's like a separate question. I think we should deal with separately. Although it's kind of so intertwined here that it's hard to separate those things because it's like, okay, so for example, a perfect example is Banjo-Kazooie. Right, where I would have put that right on my list, at the top of my list, because I completed the game. I got all the jiggies, all the notes, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so I could say without a doubt that I completed that game on the N64. And what do you know? When the Xbox Live Arcade game came out, I completed it very quickly because I love that game.
Yeah.
Banjo-Tooie is a little different because in Banjo-Kazooie, you have to get all the jiggies and all that stuff. In Banjo-Tooie, you actually only have to play till... You have to get like 80 or 85% of the jiggies and then go beat the final boss and you're done.
Right.
I would have thought that it would be the same way as Banjo-Kazooie. And I did complete it on the N64, but I didn't technically, in the same manner, complete it on the Xbox, even though I got all the achievements, because you're not forced to do it.
Right.
So it's tough to answer this question without considering what might those achievements be. I don't know. I have a list as well, but I'll let you go first. But
sure.
I was just thinking that would be a really kind of interesting subject to go into about theorizing what these lists would look like. If
I kind of want to make it. I think I'm going to post a thread and in our forums, forum.z2z.com, and I want our community, and I'm going to put some up myself, to create achievement lists
that's fun.
For these old games.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe we can cap it at 12. Like, let's do an XBLA. If this was going to be an XBLA title, 12 achievements for, what you consider complete. And you can probably go more if you need more, but, just lay out the outline. One for beating each boss, one for beating it on hard, one for collecting all this. I think it'd be kind of cool. Anyway, my list, Ocarina of Time was on my list too. I did everything in that game. I loved that game. And the other Zelda that I put so much time in was A Link Between Worlds. That one was my second favorite Zelda, and I know I got every single thing in that game. Again, I guess I know I got all the the heart containers and things like that. Now, if they snuck in some Easter eggs that I didn't find, right, then that could have been a one-off achievement. That I don't know. But I'm saying essentially that I collected everything, maxed out my character. That's what I'm considering a completion. Super Mario World. That one you can actually see, right? Because then you got all the, there were stars in that game, right? And unlocked all the maps and the bonus levels, the Star World, all that stuff. Did that. Got 100% in that one. Donkey Kong Country. I got 100% in that one. That was a pain in the butt trying to find all those, because each level then had all those coins and, the Cranky Kong coins. What the hell were the coins?
I don't remember the.
Anyway, so there are some collectibles that were really annoying to get. Earthbound.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, I maxed out. Maybe I didn't get to I'm not going to say there's an achievement for getting your character to level 99, but I did everything in that. Went all the side quests, did all those things. So Earthbound's on my list. Secret of Mana. This one I can legitimately say would have been, if they wanted to be a ball buster about this game, they would have had it where each character has to level up each weapon, right? Because you had your little weapon wheel, and then so I think I had my main dude was super proficient with the sword and the knuckles. No, the chick was the Knuckles. I had the chick with the Knuckles and the spear for whatever reason. I was like, I gave her a short-range weapon and a really long-range weapon. And I had that stupid sprite guy, the little fuzzball. He would always throw the boomerang or the chakram. So anyway, but you had to like level each one of those up per character. I think they each went up to level 9. And then the spells, the magic users each had to get up to level 9. And I remember going through all of those and leveling them up, and it got so long once you got up to level 7, 8, and 9 to get them to max out, because the weapon progress went so slow at that point. But I remember doing that actually because I loved Secret of Mana so much. Along with that, I mean, I was big into RPGs when I was on the Super Nintendo, and so Chrono Trigger, played I beat it every single possible way through every different world, every time period. Completed the game on that. Super Mario Kart, kind of a weird one to do completion, but 150cc cup, beating it with all the characters. I made it a point to try and beat it with all the characters. Man, I struggled. I had to save the Bruisers, the Donkey Kong, and Bowser for the end, just because you have to be so proficient and not hit anything, because they had such that great top speed, but you're just barreling through the enemies. My racer in Super Mario Kart is Koopa. I was always a Koopa Troopa guy. I've fallen off since. I haven't played what the rest of them are, but finally Super Metroid. And Metroid Prime, I know I got 100% on those. I did not get 100% on Metroid Prime 2 because one of the things to scan, those are missables in that one. And I missed one. And I know exactly where it was because I scanned it the first time, and then I died and it didn't save, and I forgot to scan it the second time. And so I was super frustrated that I missed that one. I did not play through a second time.
Just a quick question. If Metroid had a speedrun achievement, like beat in 3 hours, would you go for that? You think you could do that?
I would have to watch a video.
Yeah. I really don't like speedrun achievements, but I mean...
I don't either.
It's kind of built for that, so it would be really interesting. But anyways, sorry.
The last two, Yoshi's Island... I remember playing the crap out of Yoshi's Island, and finally ActRaiser. I was so meticulous. Do you remember ActRaiser at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, it was a kind of a dual phase game where you would start off, you're an angel, and you would imbue this warrior statue. And so you would play a 2D side-scrolling action platformer. So you had your sword and you would fight dudes, and then you'd kill the boss or whatever. And then when you killed the boss, you'd be teleported to a isometric overland map where you, as the angel, would fly around, and it essentially built the city. And so you started with the hub, and then you'd have your little settlers go, and you'd tell the settlers, okay, clear out these forests, and then you can build a road over here and put some more houses, and go visit this and whatnot. And it was an awesome little world simulator in each of these little areas. And I would max the hell out of my town. I would try and get every single thing, and if like a house. So you could build the houses, and they would build in such a way that would maximize your population if they built a certain configuration. But sometimes they would build them in a different configuration that didn't offer as much living space. And so I would then summon a lightning storm and torch all the homes. So they had to rebuild it until it made that maximized living space. I min-maxed the hell out of that game. It was so good. I loved that game. But unfortunately, the second one just sucked. It did not capture the magic of the first one. So, I mean, it's a long list, but those are the ones off my top of my head when I went through my games this earlier today, that I know for a fact I just abused these games and just squeezed every last drop of enjoyment out of them. So how many crossovers do we have, Prue? What's on your list?
So it's interesting because it sounds like most of your list is 16-bit era games.
Super Nintendo, baby.
Yep. And most of, a good chunk of what came up to me was the 64-bit era.
Yeah.
Because that was, I think, 96, I was 10. So, I mean, like, it was between 10 and 15 when you don't have a lot to do in the summers and you can just kind of play the hell out of the games that you're playing, you know? So obviously, without a shadow of a doubt, Mario 64. So you had Mario World. I had Mario 60. I never had a Super Nintendo as a kid. I was a Genesis kid. I was a NES to Genesis kid. But anyways.
Are you going to get the Classic? Super Nintendo Classic?
No.
Does that do anything for you?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Because that collection of games, like, and I looked at that as inspiration because I know that collection of games is literally all of my favorites, pretty much.
So are you going to pick one up?
I don't know. That one I'm torn on. Like the NES Classic didn't really do anything for me. Like the new Atari box, right, that's coming out, it doesn't really do anything for me. The Sega, okay. But the Super Nintendo, like, oh man, that is peak nostalgia levels for me.
It's the same thing for me. Like if they came out with an N64 box or mini classic, whatever, that would be the most tempting for me. But even then, I can just emulate it, you know, if I want to. Or really, if I'm really desperate, I can just dig the system out and play it. So, no, I don't. I like the idea of them. It's just that those games are so already available to me that it doesn't actually kind of fill any hole that I don't already have, you know?
Yeah.
But, so anyways, so you had Super Mario World, which is great. I have Super Mario 64. I got 120 stars. I don't know, 5 times over in one summer, just playing it over and over again. So I certainly have. And as far as that goes, every subsequent Mario up until the Wii U, I guess, because the Wii U didn't have a proper 3D Mario. So
nope.
Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and both Galaxies, which are some of my favorite games as well. There is a crossover here. I would pick all 3 primes. All 3 Metroid primes would be completed games for me. Man, I love Metroid Prime is one of my favorite games of all time. Let's see. Any other? So obviously I talked about Banjo. Banjo, pretty much any Rare game is going to be on my list.
Yeah.
GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, both the Banjos, even Donkey Kong 64, I should say, which still has the most ridiculous amount of collectibles, I feel like, in any game I've played. That one would probably be my most proud completion of the N64 era. Let's see, moving beyond that, I would definitely say Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, because I played that game 4 or 5 times over and over, just like the original Mass Effect. If they did have multiple playthrough achievements, I would definitely have that covered, because I've played that game on multiple platforms just over and over. I love that game so much.
Yeah.
And of course, the big one for me, which I don't think comes as any surprise to anyone listening for any amount of time here, is the Pokemon games. I've completed all of them up until the most recent one. So I've captured all of the Pokemon and all of the games that were feasibly capturable since Red and Blue. And I would have a lot of TA score for those, because that takes a lot of dedication.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I really have to finish Sun and Moon, because I haven't yet. But that's really, I think that's probably my biggest one. Probably the one I've spent the most, because it's 10 different games, but it's each one is an investment for sure.
Yeah. Did you? Okay, so I had two comments. One, I was listening back to last show. Remember we were talking about what game in the series made you quit that series? Mm-hmm. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I forgot how awful that game is.
Okay,
That's
so
the worst.
I get into this conversation quite a bit. Nuts and Bolts is not a bad game. It's just a terrible Banjo game. It has nothing to do with Banjo. They just slapped the name on it, and that's what makes that game bad. It's a not bad vehicle creating simulator game. It's fine. It's fine as far if you remove the Banjo trappings from it. It's a totally serviceable, kind of a unique game. Not my thing, but I'm sure some people are into it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Banjo is such a short franchise that I don't think it really even counts, because there's only been 2 core games, and then of course Nuts and Bolts. I'm still hoping someday, maybe you know what, if Rare hits it out of the park with Sea of Thieves, we can get a proper Banjo sequel. But I'm actually okay at this point because of Yooka-Laylee. So
There you go. Yeah, and of course I forgot what my other comment was, so skip it.
Naturally.
We'll move on. Yeah, I honestly I can't remember. So thank you everybody who. And I did not mean to close out of Twitter. Who sent in their those questions and comments? Totally appreciate it. That is fantastic. We're pretty much ready to wrap up this show. What are you going to be doing this week? You got anything in the kitty?
So hopefully we're finishing up boosting Halo 3. This should be our final week doing that, which is super exciting. I'm actually going away for a good friend of mine is getting married, so we're having a stag party back home in New York. So I will be leaving. I won't be participating in Titanfall this Thursday because we'll be leaving early Thursday morning, coming back probably Sunday. So my week is going to be pretty light. I've got a game to play for this episode, in fact, of Review Zed. So you'll hear that later on in this episode. And I'll tell you how great or terrible it is in just a few minutes.
Sneak peek of the game? Does it have a title?
It does. I don't remember it, but I do know it's an Artifex Mundi game, and I haven't played any of those yet. So I'm actually really interested in seeing how I feel about them.
What do we have now we haven't done? Dark Swan?
I can tell
Cursed Bride?
If you're really interested.
One of the Grimoire ones?
It is Lost Grimoire's Stolen Kingdom. That's what you'll be hearing here in just a few minutes. So
cool.
Other than that, just sort of I'll probably do a bunch of Titanfall because I know I won't be there for the session. Yeah. I want to get as far as I can in that. And maybe I'll get some of that. I've got the fire under my butt now, so maybe I'll get some of that random to-do list stuff done, so I can say that I can crush you and $$ Urban Spaceman. Yeah.
So my plan, of course, I got my standing sessions: Zombie Army Trilogy, 2 more campaign levels, Diablo, killing Osmodon, so Chapter 3, Act 3 done. And then Titanfall Thursday, I need to finish my Atlas executions. I got my pilot kills, so those will be done on Thursday night. Yeah, boy, it'd be great if I could finish, start doing wins boosting on Thursday. But so those are locked in for sure. Tomorrow, Saturday, I got a really busy weekend. My son's in a baseball tournament this weekend, and so there's going to be a lot just driving around doing that kind of stuff. So my in-depth gaming time is going to be focused tomorrow for Saturday in the Valley. Giving that a shot, I think there's a random to-do list associated with that, so check that off the list. And then my 2 open nights are Monday and Wednesday. Okay, well, I have some options, and I'm trying to think, because I'll try and sneak these in throughout the week, but I need to finish the gamer tags. And on my list of things I need to do, because I also have to wake up early and go to the gym because we're still in baseball season. So I in theory should not stay up super late on Mondays and Wednesdays, but I do anyway. So here's the list of possibles, and I'm probably not going to play any of these, but I need to do something in Borderlands. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Danger of the Ooze. I mentioned I want to get that 1-hour speedrun game. I will do Enigmatis 2 and Eventide because I need E's for the gamer tags. So there's on the list. Child of Light both covers random to-do list and gamer tags. Same with Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. And then I need a letter S for the gamer tag. And I wanted to do State of Decay. So that's a lot of games. And granted, it's the 22nd. I still have, 7-8 days left of the month? But
what do you have to do in Borderlands?
I gotta go discover Scrapyard.
Oh, that's super easy. How far into the game are you?
Dust Commons. Okay, yeah. So I think I'm 2 world maps away from Scrapyard.
That's super easy.
But it's non-linear, right? I can just go there, can't I? Or no?
Yeah, it's been a while since I played the first Borderlands, but I don't remember there being any sort of besides there. Oh, God.
I can't remember because I thought I had to do something to you had to beat Sledge to get a key to unlock the door to move to the out of the arid Badlands or whatever.
If you need it, I can help on Monday night if you want.
Because I am because my character I mentioned last show is getting there is not going to be the problem. I'm invincible. It's just it's just staying focused and saying, no, I'm going straight to this location and I'm going to find it, instead of, side quest? Yeah, I'll do a side quest. What is that, claptrap? Oh, you're dancing? Oh, I like dancing. Yeah. What do you need me to do? Yeah. Anyway.
Look at me, I'm dancing. I'm dancing.
Yeah. So I got some options, but I don't know what it's going to end up being. I'm probably just going to end up diving a bunch of these, just finishing up the gamer tag and not getting any render-to lists left. That's all. I guarantee that's what's going to end up happening.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Well, there we have that. We've got Knobs and Discos. It's our home for unobtainable and discontinued achievements. True Achievements actually broke this little story here. I think maybe they took it from somebody else, but FIFA 14 servers are going down. October is the timeline for that. So if you've got achievements to do in FIFA 14, now is the time to get those taken care of. It is October 18th. And it's going to affect both the Xbox One and the 360. They already have 2 discontinued achievements because EA no longer has highlights of the week. So hopefully you got those out of the way. But if you have anything left there, there'll be a link in our show notes to the TA page that actually shows which achievements will be affected. So if you're curious if they are on the list of things you still need to do, that would be one place to go. And finally, I mentioned at the end of last show, but as part of the Zombie News Corner, director George A. Romero passes away. Prue, do you have anything to add to? Were you a fan of Night of the Living Dead, or Dawn of the Dead, or Isle of the Dead, or Island of the Dead, Land of the Dead? I mean, there's so many of the Deads that George A. Romero was part of. Did you watch any of those movies? Is anything?
I've never seen any of the films, but I understand, or at least I think I'm aware of his contribution to modern zombie mythology. So that's obviously it's kind of a terrible thing.
Yeah.
He wasn't too old either, right? In his late 70s, I think.
No, he was super old.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he at least looked super old.
He could have just lived a real hard life. You don't know. But
well, I mean, he dealt with the living dead all the time.
Hey, me. Well, let's be sensitive.
So, but like I said, we shared a birthday on February 4th. So he that that has to be my tie.
You think that's what kind of got you into it? It's destiny, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. He was 77 when he passed away.
Yeah, see, that's what I said, late 70s.
So, yeah, 77.
That's
still
pretty young.
Pretty old.
77? No, come on. This is 2017, man. 105 is the new 77 at this point.
Yeah, I suppose. Some of it, let's see what had 1968, Night of the Living Dead, 78, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead in 85, Land of the Dead in 2005, Diary of the Dead in 2007. I remember Diary of the Dead. That one was one of those, like, I bet his new one, like if he was going to do a new of the Dead movie, it would be, I don't even know what it would be called.
Tweet
but
of the Dead?
Something like that, right? Like it'll be a social media thing where like people will be face deep in their phones and getting eaten by zombies.
Meme of the Dead?
Because that was kind of the thing with Diary of the Dead, was like the war journalist, where they are filming all this horror through their camera, and there's like a disconnect between them and the things that are going on. So they're actually watching their friend being eaten by a zombie, but they feel the distance because they have a camera in front of them, and they feel like they got to record it for posterity, but they lose that human connection with what they're seeing. That's his social commentary on that bit. You have to imagine he had some sort of stance on social media and, the smartphone culture that we're in right now, and how the implications of that in a zombie apocalypse would shake out. Guarantee he'd have something to say.
Have you seen all of those films?
I don't remember Day of the Dead. I've seen Night, Dawn, Land, Diary, and he's got more. I think I don't remember how many other of the Deads there were. Those are the prominent ones. Like he was part of the Crazies, right? That's kind of a zombie thing. But like of the Dead series, I never saw Survival of the Dead.
Sounds like a good enough reason to go and check them all out.
I should. The Dawn of the Dead remake, I remember watching, and then I was like, that's kind of the introduction of the Fast Zombie for me. I didn't see 28 Days Later. And chronologically, I might be flipping those movies around, but I remember that was the advent of the Fast Zombie, and I thought that was just terrifying.
Yeah.
But George A. Romero was not a fan of the Fast Zombie. He thought that was too actiony, and it took away from, I think, like I mentioned in the last show. Anyway, let's get out of here. Let's wrap this show up. Prue, where can people find you? Well, you're going to be out of town, but if they just wanted to follow you or bother you down the road, where can we track you down?
Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter. Easiest place to find me. There I am at OneUpDan. That's the number one, not the word. And of course, on TA or on Discord and anywhere else related to achievements, you're going to find me. Just Prue. That's Proulx. The X and the L are silent.
Yeah, there it is. And I've been Freamwhole, Freamwhole. You can find me. That's my Twitter handle. That's my gamer tag. If you wanted to come and chat with us in my Discord channel, it is discord.me/Freamwhole. We'd love to carry on this conversation. We'd love to find some people to join up with our boosting sessions and just chat in general about games. And it's a wonderful little community we have. I have, whatever. So yeah, come hang out. You can also check out our contests and things. I will do a contest roundup at the end of the show, but you can see all the details. Forum.z2z.com. Look for, I'm going to write this down so I don't forget to post coming up with achievements for old school games. I want to do that. Yeah. That'll be super fun. If you could help us out by just spreading the word for the show. It is a free way to support the show. Let your friends know, promote it on social media or word of mouth or whatever. If you can support us financially, even anything, even just $1, just a tiny little smidgen, by the time you're hearing this, you still have an opportunity to get into our first monthly prize draw for an Xbox game code, a retail game that we will give away. You can look at the details on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Z2Z. And just, I think an entry is as little as $3 a month for one entry into the pool, and it will go up with a sliding scale. Like if you're buying, I remember what I was going to say, Prue. Because I got the inspiration for how to do the scaling for the raffles in Pokemon Go. Oh, right?
Okay.
Are you going to take part in the giant Pokemon Go event that's happening tomorrow?
Pokemon Go Fest, which is happening in Chicago.
Yeah, but there's worldwide ramifications.
There is.
You got to get catching tomorrow. We need those boosts.
Yeah, we do. My primary focus when I play Pokemon is collecting. So this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but of course, if it's an event, I get extra stuff. I'm going to participate. So yeah, absolutely. Everybody, well, I was going to say everybody participate, but at this point you can't because it's over. But no, it sounds like fun. It sounds like a really cool thing, and I'm hoping it's going to spread. I thought
they said they were going to increase the rare or decrease the rarity, that you're going to get more opportunities to get different Pokemon out in the wild. The case.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Have you been to like raid and gym battles and stuff recently?
Again, I mostly focus on.
But that's what I'm saying. Collecting. That's where you get the tougher to find ones.
Oh, with the rating feature?
With the raid battles.
The thing is, like, because I've been only focused on collecting for so long, I don't really have, like...
You guys suck.
A bench. Yeah, I don't have a good group of Pokemon that I can actually use to battle with yet.
I'm the same way. And, like, I can go... Like, my guys are high enough where, like, I can go toe-to-toe with about 50% of the boss's life by myself. But it's like... I need one other person, like, just to help me take out this gym so I can freaking get this stupid Snorlax that's just sitting there, or whatever the hell it is, right? Because they got some unique ones that I don't catch enough. That's why I like when they do the random events where I can like actually catch a bunch of rock Pokemon, right? Yep. So I can evolve them. And anyway, sorry, closing out the show. The show is over. No more Pokemon talk. But yeah, so our Patreon page, patreon.com/Z2Z. We would absolutely, oh my gosh, we'd love it so much if you guys could help us out. We appreciate every single one of you that has donated so far or have pledged to donate. And by August 1st, if you are on that list, we will get you in a raffle for an Xbox Live or an Xbox retail game. Otherwise, if you just want to talk to us, reach out to us. There's plenty of ways to do that. Twitter is probably one of the best, at ZZZEDTOZED, or email contact@ZZ.com. Finally, take a visit over to our website, Z2Z.com, ZEDTOZED. Show notes, links, things that we've talked about. It's a great little resource there, and that's where the show is. So thank you, everyone who's made this possible. Thank you to all our patrons, and thank you, Prue, for co-hosting with me. Randy, for your help behind the scenes, Planting, Warren, everybody who's involved. And I've been Brandon. And so to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode.
Like a Pokemon.
Z to Z Podcast presents Review Z.
All right, so this week for Review Z, I am back from vacation. I'm nice, toasty, semi-burned, and I guess I have two co-hosts today. So, I know. So, you're still here, Daniel?
Yeah, I decided to hang around a little bit longer than it was needed. But what the heck? Why not, right?
Actually, I think it was more the other way around. Turns out I was like, hey, I played the game you guys are reviewing. I'll jump in. So I'll let you guys... Do you guys want to take it, or do you want me to lead it?
Go ahead, man.
All right.
You're back. Let's get it going.
All right. So this... I'm going to butcher the name of the... Is it Lost Grimoires? Like French?
Grimoires, yeah.
Okay.
It's like a spell book.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yep.
So I get for not playing Magic the Gathering. Stolen Kingdom, published and developed by Artifacts Mundi, and this came out April 28th of this year, 2017, for Xbox One, with an Xbox Live store price of $9.99. So I've done a few Artifacts Mundi games, so I kind of turn it over, let's say, for you first, Dan. Let's get your impressions.
Yeah, so this is actually my first Artifacts Mundi game, and I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know. It's pretty... It's not exactly what I was thinking it was going to be. I mean, I guess it is kind of a traditional, a point and click, but it seemed much more like lower budget. I don't know if that's the word that I want to use, but it's simpler, and I don't know, there just wasn't a lot to the game. And even the voice acting was kind of not great. And not that, I don't know if people pay attention to the stories in these games or not, but it was pretty simple. It was okay. I followed a guide and I got it done real quick, so it was good for that. But I don't know that I would be super excited to play these kinds of games again.
Yeah, so having gone through a number of the Artifact Mundi titles, was it you, Warren? I think you're saying it kind of like a Telltale, same engine. Here's the insert plot line here, insert certain puzzles here. Though
exactly.
I will say this one did seem. I don't know if I've just played enough of them and I can speed run them now, like on mute. But yeah, this one did seem a little less expansive than some of the other ones that we've reviewed. Might not necessarily be a bad thing, though.
I think the biggest omission between this and your typical Artifacts Mundi game is most of them require you to play it twice. They have achievements for two different methods of solving the puzzles. This one only has one normal method, so it's like, we don't have anything to kind of keep you going, so let's just make them do it once.
Oh, man, so it's all uphill from here, huh?
They actually are longer, typically. This is a short one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 to 3 hours, yeah, because typically you have to double it. Or as you do like me, you play it on easy anyway, even though you could have done on expert difficulty because you didn't want to use the guide. But yeah, it's a pretty tried story method. So loosely, the story on this one, what is it? You're is it your dad or is it your caretaker? Who was the guy? I didn't quite. It wasn't your father, but you were.
It's like a master alchemist guy.
Yes, the alchemist.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he was like your boss though. He was like he was.
No, your parents went missing, so yeah, he's kind of watching over you.
Yeah, and then stuff happens. No spoilers, right? And so you're thrust into unravel the mystery with magic. Ooh.
Right? There's these metal robots and some dudes in your house, and oh my.
Lots of birds. There's birds all over the place, too.
Birds, yeah.
I was really hoping she would slip off the roof at the one point. But alas. We could all have our dreams. So, Warren, what about your thoughts, your takeaways?
I sort of already discussed it a little bit, I guess. I mean, it's your typical Artifacts Mundi game. It's light on the story, even lighter than your average one. However, this one had a new feature that I don't remember seeing in any of the other ones that was called Transmute, where you could take objects that were in your inventory and make other items out of them, sort of like you're making spells, like you're using your alchemy book to make things. It hasn't been in any of the other games that I can recall, so maybe they're trying to expand on the game mechanics a little bit. If so, good for them.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if it was a game mechanic or just more of a, hey, here's another way to throw a puzzle in here. Because, I mean, at first they were very simplistic. I think there's like a few times you get to some of the puzzles, again, if you're not using a guide, where they're not super difficult to solve, but it's like not quite Rubik's Cube level toughness, but where it's just you have to get that one last color in the slot and you just keep changing and changing. Like, I'm almost, come on, just give me the freaking puzzle type. Not where it's like, oh, wow, really? How do I solve this? Just like, can I get this done with?
So the puzzles were one thing, but I'm surprised to hear you say that you play without a guide, because when I was going through, I was thinking, man, there's some really obscure ways that you're supposed to combine items here, and like you're supposed to keep, you kind of have to ping pong between different areas to pick up different items and stuff. And I'm like, this would be really frustrating, I think, for me without a guide.
So if you play it on easy or the casual difficulty, whatever, what will end up happening is if you go to the world map, it will give you a checkpoint of where you're supposed to go next to solve your next puzzle.
Okay.
Yeah, and then usually if you're really stalling, something will light up somewhere on screen to say, hey, maybe you should click over here, buddy. You're like, okay. So, as I said, if you do the game in that methodology, you don't need the guide. It should be fairly straightforward, and at least that way I see it as more of a, I played it as it was intended, not...
Sure.
Took the complete challenge out of it for my 1,200 gamer TA score, 1,000 gamer score, which I'm only sitting at 800 since I have to play through it again.
See, I wouldn't do that just because it's... Man, to me, it would just one time wasn't enough. Even
hey, I look at it as it's still another 2-hour playthrough for 200 gamer score. It's like an Xbox Live Arcade title. Remember those back in the day?
Oh yeah,
for the 360. Yeah,
there you go. That's a good way of looking at it.
You always got to find the silver lining.
I guess my biggest downfall with this would be like a lot of the other Artifacts Mundi games, the collectibles, the objects you had to find during the game, usually they don't lock off areas, or if they do, they only lock off a small amount. So you can kind of navigate the entire like game world throughout the entire game. This one is very, very much like segmented. As soon as you move ahead, you pretty much can't go back again. So if you're not collecting things as you're going, like immediately when you can see them, you're going to be backtracking and making that second playthrough.
Oh, yeah. So I guess that is the forewarning for all of the people that don't want to play this any longer than they have to. Make sure if you do not want to do 2 run-throughs, you use a guide for those kestrel symbols, because there are points of no return. There's multiple points of no return.
Correct.
Yeah, so... I mean, the good news is they stack, though, so if you do miss it and you have to do another run-through, you don't have to get them all on the same run-through. But yeah, if you were just thinking like on the other games in the past where you could leave certain things and go back into earlier stages, this one, yeah, you can't. So again, I guess the only plus side, it's short. So even if you have to go back and play through certain segments again, especially if you know what you're doing, you can bang through them pretty quickly.
True.
So, yeah.
And the puzzles, once you've solved them, at least the ones that aren't transmuting, like the moving color matching things, the other puzzles, once you've solved them, you'll know the puzzle when you get to it again. The matching ones, I would honestly say grab a guide for, unless you're really good at aligning colors that you spin. I don't know how else to explain those puzzles.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing, though, for me, especially on these games, like if you haven't played one, I think there was one a while ago I said that was a better story that really captured the essence of what Artifacts Mundi game is. This is par for the course for them. I mean, it's $9.99. It's not a lot. If you know what you're in store for in these titles, it's not a bad price for it. But if you're sitting here looking for hey, I want my exposure to an Artifacts Mundi game and what this is all about, I would not say this is the one that you would probably want to use as your only judge of what their games are like. I mean, for you, Prue, I mean, I guess this is exactly, to your point, you've never played another one before. Having played this one, are you sitting here going, yeah, I can't wait to play more of these?
No, not at all. I mean, and that's the thing, the enticing thing about it was how quick and easy it was. And if you're saying that the other ones are typically longer, I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm sure they all have guides at this point and they would still be easy, but there's a zillion other games I could play. I don't think I'll come back to these games for at least for a little while.
Well, when we're saying longer, it'll take you like an extra hour or two, as opposed to, I mean, this one was like a 2-hour game. Yeah. Typically, they're more of like a 3 or a 4 because you got to make that second run.
Yeah, but I guess it's like if this style of game, like if you've played it, like again, you've done these puzzles and you're just like, I get no enjoyment from this other than, oh, wow, I got my hit of Gamerscore topped up for the day. You're like, if that's all you got out of this, then yeah, I'm not really sure. Don't think there's much more.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of a little oddity I was just thinking of. Most of the Artifacts Mundi games have story-based achievements that unlock as you play through the game. This one, it seems like they just kind of dropped the ball. Like there's a couple initially, and then literally nothing till you finish the game, unless like there's the one for like collecting half the collectibles. You really don't get any achievements mid-game. It's like they didn't.
No, you did for finishing the puzzles. Like you had to finish one puzzle, you had to finish one with less than 4 mistakes. So
well, true, but like if you look at the other achievement lists for Artifacts Mundi games, typically they'll give you story-based achievements as you progress.
Yeah,
this one does not have story-based achievements till you finish it.
Yeah, there was a big gap between the beginning achievements that you get and then once they started to clean up at the end.
So that almost kind of goes in with the lack of character development with this one. So I don't know what it was they were trying for, if they were trying a couple different game mechanics and forgot to kind of put a little more oomph into the characters. But yeah, it's hard to kind of get a feeling for the good ones. Like you don't really feel too bad like when stuff happens to the good guys, and I don't know. Usually you have a little more of a bond with the characters.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, so what's the final verdict on this one, guys? Are we meh? Are we avoid? Are we, yeah?
I'm meh. It's not a bad game for Gamerscore. However, like we've just discussed, it's not really the greatest Artifacts Mundi game to show off what their games are like. There are better Artifacts Mundi games out there.
And you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it's good if you want something quick and easy. If you're willing to follow a guide, you get it done real quick. But other than that, I would probably avoid it.
Agreed. All right. Well, until next week's end, thank you both for joining, and thanks for listening.
Good night.
Back to you guys.
Here we go. It's time for another community roundup. I'm going to start with the GTASC. We are in period 28. Starting the team competition, there are 39 teams left. The Smooth Sailing Award goes to Big Willie 4.0, which is Miserly Pluto's team, and they earned 5th place overall. Our near miss, the closest to the bottom, 10 spots, a nice, healthy 1,640 TA. It was the Achievement Hounds podcast with a listener of the show, NBA Kirkland. Eliminations, well, did not fare so well for Fart Barf. We lost Smiddle, L.M., Stushnikin, and Toadstyle. They bowed out of the competition, unfortunately, so they're out. As far as the individual side of it, we are under 100 participants. We are down to 95. The Smooth Sailing Award goes to Redemption Denied, who scored 25th place overall. Our near miss, just 2 spots above the elimination and 57 TA. They did have to use 2,000 points in bonuses, was Tatey. And eliminations, well, we had a couple. What the fug? He was 6 spots below the line, 1,400 TA. Chin Doctor, 5 spots below the line, 662 TA. And I think there were bonuses left on the table. And then Stushnikin, so close, man. 3 spots, 271 below the cutoff. And there we have it, down to 95. We are really, really getting wrapped up in that. Good luck to all those still involved. Those are some pretty high-scoring weeks. So, man, I wonder. I'm curious how happy the eliminated players are that they could actually play real games now instead of just cranking out points. Maybe that was fun for them. You know what's fun for me? Random to-do list. And I told you, I promised I was going to do them last week. Totally forgot, but I'm going to do it this week. As far as June, our June winners. Well, I can't say the June winners without saying the perfect months. Chin Doctor and Kingsman 2625 both had 25 out of 25. Nice work. Although Big L would tell you otherwise. ZZ Urban Spaceman, 24 out of 25. Matriarch with 22. Big L with 21 out of 25. Nice job. Those are some awesome scores. We had 81 people participate and collectively scored 456 achievements off of their lists. The random draw, however, Christam DS. He is our winner. Had 3 entries, I think, to earn himself a entry into the raffle, and he gets himself a code. So congratulations, as we're into the June community contest now for prize giveaways. That was the A to Z challenge. It was a carryover from the True Achievements A to Z challenge, but you could just continue on through. And we had 44 people sign in to this challenge for 1,433 achievements earned between everybody. That is a massive pool, and I'm so excited that, since people are working on it for TA anyway, that they just jumped over and got their name in there. And we had some real solid contributors. Our top 3 will go from 3 up to 1. Ben L72, a new person in the forums, went through 2 cycles, and 23 on their third got hung up on the X. Kush Moose, well, he finished 3 cycles, so congratulations. But Eld, he had the number 1, ELDE, 3 cycles and 12 bonus letters, went all the way to M on his 4th cycle. That is super impressive. As far as the random draw, we're pulling from 1,433 entries. The winner is Crunchflake. Nice job, Crunchflake. So he pulls down a card for this month. Don't forget, July is our anti-Bean Dive month. You're earning completions, and if you earn completions in games that you start this month, part of the Bean Dive, then you get bonus entries. And so we'll see how many you do. I think I've only got 1 completion. I'm going to try to get 1 more here before the end of the month. I found an easy one, so we'll see. We have TA. The Bean Dive's already done, so obviously most people are continuing their diving. So enjoy that. And now for gamer tags. Our gamer tag contest for the month of June was Giant Hunger. We had 27 people participate. Random draw winner is Spanky and Spronkle. So he wins himself a code. Our gamer tags for July, we are still doing Angel SK and McLovin Legend. By the time this comes out, you have very little time to complete those. So any achievements earned in the month of July can be put toward those. You just use the game title. I still have a couple of open letters myself. And then you have a few days into August to earn, for next month. We have MoCOS for July is Name That Game. You're earning achievements in a specific game that are also use the letter within that game. And so the example that he used was Destiny, and so there's an achievement in Destiny that starts with a D, one that starts with an E, an S, a T, a Y, blah, 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 all the way through. And those, if you get all of the letters, you get the square of the number of letters used. So for Destiny is 7, and the square of that is 49. Otherwise, you just simply unlock one entry per letter. So you might as well get in on that. We're dangerously close to August, so I might as well just tell you what's coming up for August. I can't tell you what the MoCOS is because I don't know what it is for August yet, but I can do our random to-do list. This is the final month of this 1-year contest. We started it 1 year ago, and so after the month of August, we will wipe the slate clean and come up with a new set of rules very similar. We are not going to drastically change things, I would say, but there will be some minor tweaks to what we need to do. You can check our forums for any of the details on the new iteration of the contest or to sign up for this existing contest. You simply need to earn one achievement in each month to get a list automatically made. Otherwise, you just have to ask in the forums. Again, in those forums is forum.z2z.com. We hope to see you there. August's community challenge. Well, it's tied to the gamertag challenge because the gamertag is ZZ Urban Spaceman, one of the co-founders of the show with me. I'm going to change the dollar signs back to Z's. And so you've got ZZ Urban Spaceman, great mix of letters right there. Lots of rare letters, so good luck on those. But to try and help you out a little bit, we are going to make August Zombie Month. And so the way to earn entries into that is by unlocking achievements in a game that contains zombies. You can try and convince me if you've got some of those fringe cases where, they're not called zombies, but they act like zombies, and we can make judgment calls on those. But there are so many traditional zombie games out there. Any achievement earned in those games counts as an entry into the pool. And it has to be in a game that's, relatively centered around zombies. I'm sure you can come up with examples of some quick one-offs or a singular moment. Maybe I'll let those we'll have to discuss. But other than that, I think it's fairly straightforward what counts. And so, there's a bunch of games that actually just start with Z for the word zombie. So that'll help you with 2 gamertag entries into ZZ Urban Spaceman. So those are the 3 contests we have going on, and then, of course, the MoCOS gets tapped onto that on the end of that. And once you get your lists or you need to start working on some games, head over to my Discord channel, discord.me/Freamwhole, FREAMWHOLE. There there's plenty of LFG groups that you can talk to, find some people in the community to set up a quick gaming session to try and knock those random to-do list achievements off, or jump into kind of one of our community boosting groups. We've got a bunch open right now: Gears of War, Halo, Rocket League. What else do we got? Zombie Army Trilogy I'm working on. Diablo's in there. I think there's another crew that's starting up Zombie Army Trilogy. There's just a bunch. There's tons of stuff going on. And so on Halo, obviously, if you have any games that you need to be working on and you want a group of cool people to help you with that, this is the place to go. Not to say that you weren't going to find them at trueachievements.com. Those are great boosting sessions as well. But this is a little tighter knit group here, kind of a closer team of friends, and we'd love to have you part of that group as well. So I think that's about it, guys, for the contest. Remember, July is wrapping up, so get your entries into the contest for July. Simply post in the forums, forum.z2z.com. There we can see what you've done for the month, and you can sign up for the upcoming months, or at least take a look at the rules if there's anything sneaky that you need to know about. Other than that, I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. I'm glad you listened to the podcast. Appreciate it. And yeah, we look forward to any feedback or anything you have to add to this. So until next time, we'll catch you later. See ya.